Hello and welcome to episode 127 of the MisanthroPod. I'm Snipe, and as always, I'm joined by two delicious funky wonky chunky boys. The first of which being Wib. Say hello.
Hello. I'm not sure I count as a funky wonky chunky boy.
What's wrong with not...
I'm more of a sort of spite-filled twiglet.
Yeah, but that doesn't sound as fun.
Okay, true.
Funky wonky spite... Yeah, it doesn't really have the same...
Spiteful twig boy. Yeah, no. It doesn't have the same panache. Come on.
Yeah, true.
Workshopping it.
And I'm not sure you've got the like commitment to even be spiteful, to be honest.
Actually, that's pretty true. He's too kind of like just generally disappointed.
Yeah, generally disappointed twiglet.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Fun boy.
And Drummer Matt. I am joined by Drummer Matt as well. How are you doing, Drummer Matt?
Yeah, I'm alright. I was stabbed and someone stole my blood again, but you know, other than that, I'm all good.
For a moment, I was like, what? And I have been asking you every week on a Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. sharp if you would let me do that to you, and you've always said no. And then you just casually throw it out there that someone just did it for you.
You'd need a very long spiky thing.
I have a very long spiky thing, actually.
That sounded way worse after I said it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I give blood. Everyone should do it if you feel, physically and mentally able to. It's a fun thing to do. Yeah, no, there's
I'm
lots
anemic.
There's lots of very, very valid reasons for not doing it, which I understand all of. Well,
my valid reason for not doing it is that whenever I've tried to say,
do you want my... sign you up multiple times.
Yeah, whenever I say, do you want my blood? They say, no, we don't need it right now. And I go, okay.
No, we don't want your blood. It's shit, bad, terrible.
But yeah, apart from that, I'm pretty... Well, no, not apart from that. Including that, I'm pretty great. How are you, Snipe?
I am functioning within normal parameters. I am getting over a really fucking awful case of tonsillitis.
Yeah. How are you feeling?
Jesus Christ. Okay, so I am still having a bit of trouble, and it's been over a week. And it came on so quick. It was after we saw you guys last week, and I was like, oh no, dear God, don't let me have COVID, and I'm just getting sick, even though it came on really quick like the flu, which COVID doesn't. But I was still like, the irrational part of my brain was like, oh fuck, that's so bad.
Yeah, well, we both got tested, as a just in case.
Yeah, we both got tested. Yeah. We're both clean. In
that regard.
In that regard, I mean, don't get me wrong, I am fucking filthy and every other mean. But
implications.
That was the joke. Yeah. But yes, so I thought it was the flu. Turns out it was just tonsillitis. I didn't sleep for 4 days, for more than a couple of hours, because it was... I would fall asleep, and even breathing just through my nose, it would dry my throat out so bad, I'd wake up choking. Oh. And that would take... I got maybe an hour or two sleep every good few fucking hours. So I wasn't sleeping, which meant I wasn't healing... And I was using this throat numbing spray that worked for about 5 minutes, and then it was full bore, you've swallowed broken glass again. And it was so bad, they gave me not only did they give me antibiotics, they gave me basically 500 mils 4 times a day, which is not to be sniffed at. That's kind of nuking tonsillitis from orbit, which it kind of did. And I've still got my throat's still a bit sore, and if my voice starts croaking out and getting a bit rougher than it usually is, that's why.
You're not just putting on a husky voice for the listeners.
Why would I ever put on a husky voice for the listeners anyway? This is my voice. You're gonna fucking deal with it. You're suffering enough.
This podcast is a big case of everyone. You just got to deal with it.
Yeah, it's the top S&M podcast.
Not sure that's true.
It is, because people who are masochists come here to listen, and we enjoy inflicting pain upon their human tubes in their ears.
Okay, the logic is not entirely unsound.
See, I've shown my working.
Yeah.
I've shown my working.
Yeah.
But yeah, before we get into the podcast proper...
I'm fine as well, by the way.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Great, he's fine.
Okay. I thought Snipe already asked you.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. And then you just decided to pick apart my lexicon like an absolute reprobate.
Oh.
And here I am, being a verbal recidivist.
We could
Well,
check,
how
but
are
we're
you
not going
then?
to.
No,
Right.
I know I did, because I always go like, oh, and how are you, Wib? How are you? Say hello. How are you? How's your mama? Yeah, that kind of stuff.
I mean, she's fine. She's just got a camera.
She's gonna start doing all that pornography she's been meaning to do.
I don't think so. I don't think
Maybe
so.
you should suggest it. I could suggest it.
On your head be it.
Okay, I'm probably the only person in her life that she would let get away with that. It just in the way that she would not know what the fuck to say, and she would just leave.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey,
It's like, yeah, that's something she'd ask.
hey, Mama Wib, how about you get your fucking bongos out?
My lordy, can we not? Can we move on?
She's never gonna listen to this shit anyway.
She doesn't even know what we do for a living.
No.
One thing we do want to mention before we go any further, because we feel it'd be remiss of us not to mention it, is, of course, as many people are aware, if the Emperor had a text-to-speech device, the 40k animated fan series has decided to go on hiatus, and we just want to say that even though the situation all kind of sucks, and it's sad that they have had to make that decision, we totally understand that is a decision they needed to make, and I just want to say thank you to them for letting all three of us be a part of their series, and yeah, I hope whatever they go on to do next is good fun as well.
Yeah,
I know it will be fun, but I hope they have fun doing it.
I'm looking forward to seeing what they come out with next, because they're all like incredibly talented people, and it's going to be fun to see.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But yeah, we're not going to harp on it. We're just going to move on.
Yeah.
So, drumbly bumbly wumbly.
Yes.
What have you been up to, dearest?
I have been up to stuff and also wrote down. Yeah.
I've been up to stuff.
I wrote down what I've done.
down.
So that's progress. I'm learning.
Okay. Have you been learning your 2 times tables?
Yeah. 1
That's
times
actually-
2 is 2.
Yes.
2 times 2 is 4.
I actually had to pause myself.
3
though. I was
times
like,
2
wait.
is more than that, and 4 times must be more.
And 2 times 5 is communism.
Well, I mean, yeah, obviously.
Well, yeah, which is why we should try and achieve it.
What have you been up to then?
I finished Super Hot.
Super
Nice.
hot.
Yeah, I did.
Is this
I
the
got
VR
to-
one?
Yeah, the VR one I've been playing. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good, isn't it?
Very, very good. My only criticism is that it's very short. Wait, I know there's lots you can get into doing the challenges and try and do things in as fast as possible in game time and real time, or whatever. And there's various other challenges you can do. But yeah, I got to the end. I was like, oh, it's finished.
The original was kind of short as well.
It was. It had like the replayability and like the bonus challenges and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I prefer a game to be a little too short than way too
I mean,
long.
yeah, leave you wanting more. I mean,
Exactly.
So,
They actually, I don't know if they've done this for the regular one, but for the VR version, they actually not long ago made a toggle so you can remove all the things that involve because there's a part where you're made to throw yourself off a building and things like that.
Yeah, they put a toggle on, so if you're uncomfortable with that kind of stuff, you can turn it off. Which I think, even though I'm probably never going to use any of that kind of stuff, I'm really
super
impressed
important it's there.
that it's there.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah.
They basically said, "Yeah, sorry, it took us so long to realise we needed to put that in."
Yeah.
But that's
nice.
cool. It's cool they did.
So yeah, no, nice one, Super Hot devs. That's
And that's
that's really good.
That's on top of making 2 really good games and Mind Control Delete, which is
Again, it's kind of the Dark Souls 2 of Super Hot.
No, because I occasionally want to play Dark Souls 2.
Okay, that's fair.
Mind Control Delete is absolutely fine mechanically. It's more super hot, but it's just not.
It just feels pretty hollow.
It's just the compared to the other two, it's just so inferior. It's not even funny.
I think you did get it for free though.
I think we did, yeah.
I think if you owned Super Hot already, you got it for free. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Don't quote me.
But yeah, what did you think about Super Hot VR overall?
Oh, it's very good. I still couldn't get it's one of those ones where you can practice, and I'm sure the more you do it, the more you get used to it. But you still find yourself second to last mission or something. You've got really far in, you get used to all the mechanics. You suddenly see out the corner of your eye a bullet coming towards you, and you really quickly try and move out of the way, and then die because you moved quickly, so the bullet moved quicker. And
God, yeah.
It's one of those ones where it's so instinctive, and it probably helps. I've never played the original one, mouse and keyboard or whatever. But just seeing that a bullet's coming towards you, it's so instinctual to want to move out of the way. It seems like however much you practice it, that still gets you, which makes it really quite fun.
Yeah,
because you just can't ever. You're constantly fighting all of your instincts.
I did always when you are able to fight that, I always like to if you turn around and then there's a bullet a foot from your face, and then you slowly move out of the way of it as it passes you.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's two people awkwardly passing each other in a small corridor.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty fun.
I love that it sort of forces you to do matrix moves as well, because if you've got bullets to the side and above you, the only thing you can do is drop down and then fall matrix out of the way, and you feel like you're looking cool, and obviously you don't to anyone else.
Nobody looks cool.
No. Yeah, we streamed ourselves playing that.
I punched the wall.
Oh yeah, I've punched the wall many times. Yeah,
but there's a mark there.
Oh wow, okay.
Punched it. Yeah.
I was like, it was one of those things.
You were stop boxing, and I'm I can't help it. It's just I'm acting on instinct at this point.
I think that was actually one of the things that you had to unlearn the most, is when you punch things, don't actually punch them, because it wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
You just have to lightly tap them. That's all you need to do.
Like the booty.
You can tap their booty, yes, but the
I'm
booty
not
will
tap their booty.
The booty will shatter, and
don't breathe.
There's only a small chance you get some of it in your mouth, so.
Oh, but then kind of you can be a cool millennial, so you're I am eating ass in trace amounts.
Homeopathic ass eating.
Homeopathic ass eating. Well, I mean, you can. So okay. Let's look at this logistically. So we have smashed ass particles, and what we're gonna do? We're gonna run them through water. Is that what homeopathy is?
I mean, that's what the sewage system is, right?
Oh God.
Okay, yeah, we're moving on.
Even I think that's too fucking far, my man.
Okay,
Jesus.
What else have I been doing? Oh, so I watched Aquaman, or as I like to call it, Weird CGI, the Uncanny Valley film.
Is this the one with Jason Momoa?
Yes, that is the primary reason, and possibly only reason I watched it, because I was
I fully understand.
I fancy watching Jason Momoa topless for 2 hours. Cool.
Right?
I do think that movie is fascinating in that it's 3 separate movies mashed together.
Yeah, and I don't know why.
And one of them's quite good. All the parts where it's Arthur dealing with his family is all quite sweet. Him and his dad is adorable.
Yeah. And then when the bikers come up to him,
not least because it's fucking Django Fett, but but then everything that is underwater is just nonsense.
Yeah, and it just pulls it together. They're on a boat and they're having a character moment between Aquaman and his partner person. I've forgotten her name. It was a while ago I watched it, to be fair.
Merida from Brave? I don't care.
She has incredibly red hair.
Nobody watches that movie for her.
And then all of a sudden, completely out of nowhere, a bunch of weird fish people jump onto the boat, and then they all have to go underwater and have a big huge generic lots of monsters water fight. And you're but why is this happening out of nowhere? Came off the back of another scene. It was all calm, and I don't know. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It honestly sounds like
they do just get attacked by deep ones, and there's no good reason for it.
I honestly feel it would have the Aquaman movie would have been way more successful if it was just Jason Momoa in a swimming pool. for like 2 hours, and it wasn't even Aquaman. He was just like he was just on holiday. So he's like, he's like getting some sun by the pool, and then he's like, oh, I might, he'll have like a little cocktail out of like a pink flamingo like glass with a little umbrella and shit.
Okay, to make it match with the good points of Aquaman, it also needs to have Tamora Morrison and Willem Dafoe.
Morrison. Yes. But they also need to be there, but like Tamora Morrison. Yeah, but Tamora Morrison has to be in his Boba Fett armor without his helmet, drinking the exact same pink flamingo like cocktail that Jason Momoa is drinking. And same with Willem Dafoe. But he's dressed as like the Green Goblin without his mask on.
I feel that he would be the lifeguard.
He'd be like, no running in the pool. I should not do that after getting over tonsillitis.
No, you should not.
Oh dear.
That was a bad time. But apart from it being a messy movie, did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it, but it's not particularly well made in terms of like I said, like. I don't want to harp on about it, but like it's such bad CGI, and it would be fine if it was like an aesthetic they were going to. The scenes where it's like just underwater, but like it's just the CGI. It's just an underwater city with loads of creatures and shit. Like it looks like a video game, but like it's consistent with itself. It looks fine and quite colourful and quite cool. But as soon as you bring in real people, you've just got a weird floating head where their hair doesn't quite connect to their head, and it's all. I don't want to make a big deal about it because the CGI of a film shouldn't make it a good or bad film, but it distracts from it so much.
Yeah, if it's distracting, it's fucking distracting.
But I mean, it didn't help with the writing. I've got 2 examples here, but there was many examples of just terrible writing in the actual script and the dialogue. So there's a scene where there's two various baddies are on a submarine, and Aquaman, not flies because it's in the water, swims, but he doesn't swim. So, well, he doesn't swim. He doesn't kick his legs. He just like flies about in the water.
Yeah, he's powered by farts.
Yeah.
He's propelled by his own butt gas.
Yeah, exactly. But he does that and rams into the submarine and tries to get in or whatever. And like one of the characters goes, "Did we just hit something?" And then the other one really seriously looks straight at the camera and goes, "No, something hit us." And it's just like, come on, like,
are you kidding? Are you fucking kidding me, Matt? That is the best writing to come out of a superhero movie.
The second one's probably
years.
better. Like, so one of these 2 characters, this spoiler slightly, but I've not said who the characters are. One of the 2 characters is like dying or whatever, and the other one's like trying to. It's the very generic, someone's trapped under a weight and something's happening, and they're trying to lift it up and can't get out, and one of them needs to abandon the other so they can survive, but they don't want to. That sort
Batman
of protracted thing. Yeah. And he's like trying to lift up the thing, and the one that's dying is like, "No, you need to live so you can kill that son of a bitch." And it's just like, it's like they just like Googled like plot points in films, and it was like,
half the dialogue just come from the big book of cliches.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yeah.
Although I will say, I did think it was kind of worth it for the scene in the bar, which made me smile.
Yeah, I was starting to
let me guess. It's Tamora Morrison and Jason Momoa just hanging out and vibing
for a little bit.
Yeah, honestly, I love those 2 so much. They are so fucking charismatic. I would literally just watch them having a conversation in a room for 2 hours.
They actually genuinely in the movie have good like father-son energy.
Good chemistry.
Like it really that little pairing they're a delight when just the pair of them are like just shit.
Honestly, I've never heard a bad word about the scenes like where they're sharing them together.
Yeah,
I've always heard those used as like a plus point of the movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think I might just do because like I want to watch Wonder Woman 1984. For no reason.
It's because of Pedro Pascal.
He is so cool, okay? That man is a gift. And because I fucking hate Gal Gadot. She's a horrible person.
You do have to put up with the DCEU to watch that.
Yeah, but I am willing to do that for Pedro Pascal.
Because I've watched a lot more of it than you have.
Well, I'm only going to watch the one with Pedro Pascal.
Okay, that's fair.
And
fast forward to the scenes that he's not in.
I actually am going to do that, yes, because I genuinely hate Gal Gadot that much, because her political opinions are fucking dogshit garbage for days, and I just hate her.
Yeah,
I'm not going to dwell on that, but yeah, so I think if I watch Aquaman, I'm just going to fast forward through all the parts that aren't Tamora Morrison and Jason Momoa hanging out.
There are the Willem Dafoe scenes.
Oh, and the Willem Dafoe scenes.
They're not good scenes, but they do contain Willem Dafoe.
They contain Willem Dafoe. They're automatically good.
Yeah. Therefore, they are elevated to a different level simply by his presence.
Yeah. He has I think we should coin the Willem Dafoe effect.
Yeah.
Which is a thing where it's like, you will watch the stupidest fucking movie
it's
just to see that one actor.
It's the reason why, people played through Beyond Two Souls.
He was great in that because he committed so earnestly and so over the top. And Elliot Page, the poor fucking thing, was being directed by David Cage, for fuck's sake. So there's no way
Noted piece of shit.
Noted piece of shit, David Cage.
Who runs a company full of abuse.
Yeah, that's another topic which we won't be touching on because that is so fucking depressing, the shit I've heard. But anyway, moving swiftly on.
If you're not sure which company that is, just Google any video game company and that's the answer to that. That is a true statement about that company.
Because capitalism is cancer.
And abuse is endemic to the industry.
It is, yeah. It is just it's endemic to industry.
Yeah, to be fair.
So, but yeah, no. What the fuck was it? Pedro Pascal, everyone. Wow. What a guy. Smooth transition.
Aquaman.
Back to Aquaman. My very last thought on it is that, so there's the director, and I honestly don't know, or in fact care who directed it, but the director had very obviously bought a new drone or something, because it comes up with a fight scene, and it's genuinely quite cool the first time. They're doing the fight scene, the big choreographed fight scene thing, but then the camera spins round and does a full 360, or no, it's not even a 360, an inward 360, if that makes sense. It spins around them.
So it dollies around them.
Yeah, but it's obviously because there's no, it's really cleverly done, and you obviously can't, because there's loads of mics and lighting and God knows what else there, but this thing spins around them while they're doing the fight, and it looks really cool. But then that happens in every single fight scene. And it's oh, this is happening again. Okay. And it drops down to, I don't know if it's a lower frame rate or something weird happens when it does it. So it's okay, I like what you're getting to, and it's really cool how you did it, but yeah.
Stop doing it because it's boring now.
Yeah. Anyway, Aquaman, it was fine, but yeah, it just, I feel like if it was made 10 years ago or 10 years in the future, it could be really good, but it's sort of not quite ready for what they were trying to do, but they thought they were.
Would you recommend it for shirtless Jason Momoa alone?
Yeah. And then
okay.
the bar scene was great that Wib alluded to was great as well. So it's worth it for a few things, and it's on Netflix. Yeah. So if you have it,
shit.
Why not? Yeah. Cool. What else are we doing? Oh, there's a new series of Love, Death, Robots. Death and Robots.
I've been meaning to watch it. Love, Death and Robots.
Yeah, it's only 8 episodes as opposed to, I'm sure it was 15 or something daft last time, or it was double figures at least, I'm sure.
Am I having deja vu or something? Because I'm sure we spoke about this last time.
I don't think we did.
Did we?
No.
I didn't.
Who did I speak to about this?
It's Wib's birthday tomorrow, and he's gone senile.
I will be 35. It's all downhill after that.
Yeah. Can't believe I'm with such an old man as a 23-year-old lady.
So you've seen it, Web?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I've talked to someone about it, and I'm now really confused who I spoke to about it if we didn't do it on the podcast.
Well, we definitely hadn't seen it. Well, I definitely hadn't seen it as of last recording, so it wasn't me.
Okay. I'll nip off and have an existential crisis while you tell us about it.
Okay.
It is. It's another one of those ones where it's for those who didn't either see it or catch us talking about the first series, God knows whenever that was, a few years ago. It's a sort of anthology series where they farm it out to a bunch of different directors or whatever and do a bunch of different episodes that are completely unrelated with different animation styles and different casts and different characters and different everything, all with the vague theme of they contain love or death or robots or some combination of the three. The first season, I think we discussed it was pretty good. I think we went through individual episodes last time and sort of chatted about each one. So if you fancy watching it at some point, and we can do that at some point.
Oh,
if you fancy
sounds
it.
Cool. Like a spoiler cast, that sounds
cool. Yeah.
But my general thought, in general, probably wasn't quite as good as the first series. So I guess you guys can watch it and we can see if it warrants a more thorough discussion or not, to be honest.
Okay.
up to you guys.
Yeah.
But
we'll watch it and go, it's a bit shit.
Yeah, I mean, my overall thoughts, it was good and enjoyable, and they're only, the episodes are 5 to 10 minutes, so it's worth watching anyway. For the highlight. There's, in general, probably not enough robots, really. But
what about Love and Death?
There was lots of love and death, but it's worth watching the series for the one Christmas episode. And I get so.
Oh, I hate
go
Christmas
away and watch.
episodes.
No, I know, but it's not really a. Just watch it again. It's 5 minutes. Watch it, and anyone else who wants to watch it, because that Christmas episode is just. It's glorious.
All right.
It's very good. So yeah, if you didn't realise it was out and fancy watching it, watch it, and then I guess we'll speak about it in some episode time.
Okay.
There we go. Leave them hanging. Leave them wanting more.
Oh yeah, everyone. Do you want more of us? It's okay if you say no.
I find it difficult to believe that people end like listening to a sessionist podcast and go, "Oh, I could go for another one."
Yeah, as opposed to 2 hour shit so needed. Another hour.
The only possible reaction to hearing one of these episodes I can imagine is, "Yeah, that's enough of that for now."
Okay, so I'm gonna get serial for a moment, y'all. I'm gonna get serious. I get a few messages a month. Being like, hey Snipe, you're my favourite, but that's not important right now. Like, oh, I was listening to the MisanthroPod and I've burned through the episodes and I really enjoy it. So, self-deprecating humour aside, we're glad that people enjoy it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we actually get quite a few emails saying things to that effect, which is so very lovely.
But also be aware that there's a very seriously weird British kind of sense of humour thing of like, you're never allowed to admit or concede that you're doing something that someone might like. You always have to put yourself down and be self-deprecating, because otherwise you're seen as a bit of a tosser.
Yeah, it's ingrained. Like, if you ask someone how they're doing, you'll say not too bad, and the pinnacle of Britishness, like feeling well, is that it wasn't the worst.
Yeah. Or you go, how you doing? Oh, I'm all right.
I'm all right.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. It's not healthy in the slightest. So, which is why I'm glad people like what we do.
Britain isn't healthy, so checks out.
Really
this world is imperfect.
A profoundly diseased country.
Yeah, fucking Turf Island over here. Also, just off the top of my head, fuck TERFs.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else have you been up to, Drumbly Bumbly?
Very last thing. So, this is not something I'd usually mention on the podcast, because it's not usually within our sort of vague, even as much as we have one, themes or whatever. But I've been watching a period drama. But we've been watching Gentleman Jack.
Please tell me that it's either 2 J's or 2 G's.
It is not. It's GJ.
Gentleman Jack.
But
Gentleman Gack or Gentleman Jack. Sorry,
I mean, it would be pronounced. If it was JJ, it would be pronounced the same, I guess. So, anyway, it is based around from the diaries of someone called Anne Lister in it's like the late 1700s, early 1800s, and it's all costume drama, big stately homes and fancy costumes and that sort of stuff. But Anne Lister
conservatories
wrote very detailed diaries every day of her life, so we know all the stuff about her.
Well, there was fuck all else to do apart from, I don't know,
but
be considered hysterical and die of being cold.
She was pretty, not quite openly, but as openly as you could be in the day either, and this is a slightly contentious historical thing, but she was like a butch lesbian, or possibly would have identified as either trans or non-binary or something, and I don't want to project like modern labels onto what she would have said she was, because it's sort of it's hard to tell. But she had like relationships with women, and she dressed in it wasn't quite like men's outfits, but it was like
she was gender non-conforming.
Yeah, absolutely, like to quite a sort of extreme as degree, even by the standards then anyway. And behind her back, everyone called her Gentleman Jack, which is where the name of the series is. But yeah, it's just interesting to sort of see that sort of stuff in a historical context. She had a what is possibly the first like lesbian or same sex, same gender wedding in a church, sort of, in that they sort of said the right words to each other and then went into a church for like another service, and then sneakily went up to do that communion thing together with their rings on, so they like kind of sneaked a wedding in there and various things like that. So it's really interesting to, even if you're not into like period dramas as such, it's quite an interesting one just to see that sort of side of things back then. So
I think it's really interesting as well, because there's a joke historically with a lot of like it's a kind of sad joke, but as the whole like, these two men lived together from the age of 20 till they both died within a week of each other at the age of 60. They never married, they never had children, but they had a massive collection of cats, and they were buried next to each other and wore special friendship rings. They were such good mates. It's just
Sappho and her friends.
Yeah, completely denying queer history or that queer people existed at all. So having that kind of a thing, it is sad because there would have been a lot of historians reading her stuff and being like, oh, well, leave that out because that's nonsense. She was a woman.
Well, there's lots of you can see people's letters to each other, and they talk about having special, a woman's letter saying about their special woman friend or wanting to be intimate with them and close. But a lot of the time, not a lot of the time, I have no idea. Some of the time, that is just because that is the relationship of they were just friends and not, and there's no way of interpreting as to whether they meant they did anything sexual or more anything like that or not. It's not really. Whereas this Anne Lister person, she wrote such detailed, very explicit diaries about about things.
Okay, I really want to read because I remember. Oh fuck, I can't.
You can't read them; they're all in code. She wrote them in this weird code that she developed.
That is so perfect.
Yeah, and they were only translated or decrypted or whatever relatively recently. Various bits of them were in different codes, but she wrote there's no ambiguity there. It's she spoke about these relationships she was having with women.
It reminds me of, I can't remember his name. I think he was an Irish writer. I think what was not Homer's Odyssey or Dante's Inferno.
I don't know what we're talking about.
I think he wrote Dante's Inferno, and he basically a
Dante.
lot of. Okay, no, that's not the guy then. I think his name was James something. I can't remember. But his letters to his mistress were found and published, and they were pretty explicit. But the thing is, he had a fart kink.
Oh shit! Yeah, you read me those the other day.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, how much I want to lift up your dress and let those naughty little farties come out." and it was I really want to read Gentleman Jack's hardcore Victorian pornography because it is so weird to me. And it also shows people have always been the same and they always will be.
Yeah.
Because we got some famous fucking author with a fart kink, and we've got some genius fucking maybe lesbian, definitely queer person writing in super gay code, and I am living for it. That's awesome. But yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. It's not usually into the period dramas, but we're like, you know what, we'll give this one is different. We'll give it a try. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Yeah.
Well, because it actually sounds interesting, unlike pretty much every other period drama, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I'm not generally a fan of them. If you like them, fair enough.
It's I think I'm going to go stand in the conservatory and just.
There is a fair bit of that sort of stuff.
I mean, but you've got queer stuff in there, so it automatically makes it better.
Right, exactly.
Because
yeah.
But
yeah, that's me done.
Nice.
Snipe. Yes.
Snipe.
What have you been up to? Oh, Snipe though. Before you start, I have one last thing I've just noticed about Aquaman that I missed off, and it's a very important point to the plot that I need to mention.
Okay.
So, it's very quickly, the viewer is very quickly informed that he gets shot or something or stabbed, and the blade just goes into him and goes ding, Superman style, does not go anywhere near him.
Yeah.
He is entirely covered in tattoos.
Oh, that's good. I like.
I don't know how he has magic tattoos. Don't get me wrong, he looks great with them, but
but also if he can't get knifed, how is he going to get tattooed?
Yeah, I was wondering that. I mean, how does he just draw them on every morning with Sharpie? There's a lot. That would take a long time.
He's got an airbrush stencil.
And yeah, I know. He can be stabbed with lantern steel or whatever, but at this point he hasn't been there or anything to do with there. So anyway,
okay, so mild spoilers, but Willem Dafoe sourced him the needles.
Yeah, he does meet up with him as a kid. So yeah, maybe. Okay, sorry. It was a very, very important point I wanted to raise.
Maybe just baby Momoa came out and he just had those tattoos.
He doesn't.
Maybe it's markings.
You do see him when he's younger.
Well, maybe it's baby tapirs and shit. They have different fur patterns. Yeah, that baby tapirs have tattoos, and no, they don't. They grow into their tattoos. Well, you can't see them because they've got fur on them.
They're stripy.
Yeah, that's right. Really but then when they grow up, they kind of just
they have a different coloration.
Yeah, so maybe that's that. We don't know.
Are you suggesting Aquaman and or Jason Momoa is some kind of tapir?
No, but I'd like to find out.
Anywho, Snipe.
Just Khal Drogo, everyone. Come on. Come on. Whew. Yes, me. Oh, hi. Yes, I'm here. Hi. Hello. What?
You've got to say what you've been doing.
Oh.
That's the conceit of the podcast.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Haven't been doing this for like 8 years.
Well, I mean, apparently you forgot, so...
Funny. Well, apart from... because I've been having my ass kicked by mental health because that's just what it does. And, you know, been down for like over a week with tonsillitis just kicking my ass.
It's made the schedule, like us being our schedules for making stuff real fun.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, I'll read my lines. I can't talk. So that's been fun. Sorry that my sickness has been negatively impacting you, honey. I'm so sorry. Can you forgive me?
Well, we'll see.
Okay, great. That's really cool. But yeah, but I have done a few things, and I even, just to be spicy, played a video game.
I don't believe it.
You were literally there.
I still don't believe it.
We streamed it. There is literal video evidence.
I haven't seen it.
Okay, you are literally a flat earther right now. First of all, I've been watching a horror series called Marianne, which is a French horror series, it's pretty good. Trigger warnings for like nearly everything. There's suicidal themes. There's some kind of like, I haven't finished it yet, so I can't give you a full list of trigger warnings. But if that kind of stuff is something that would dissuade you from watching something like that, then I'd say definitely give this one a miss. But I mean, I think there's probably a good list of the triggers on doesthedogdie.com. So, you know, if you're curious but not sure, check that out. But yeah, and it's a French horror kind of series that follows a main character who's an author who used to have dreams, like night terrors and stuff about like this weird demon creature called Marianne. And the way it stopped is that she started writing stories about this creature and like, you know, and everything. And it kind of starts with like, and just shows that she is just a sack of shit. She's horrible. She's from this small town where everyone hates her because she's just a fucking, like, burnout. And she's, I like that about it, whereas it's like, you do feel bad for her, and you can kind of understand why she's making such shitty decisions and being a shitty person. So it's like, you know, there's a lot of depth to these characters.
You go, you're a shithead, but I understand why you're a shithead.
And also, you can see that you don't really want to be a shithead, but you don't know how not to be one. You know what I mean? So it's like, if this was a person you knew in real life, cut them fucking off, like literally just leave them, never talk to them again. But because it's media, it's fine. Like she literally, she stays out taking shots with her publicist, I think, or her assistant's assistant. And she's like, oh, I won't go back to my my fiancé, it's fine. And then she stumbles in at like 2 a.m. And there's this super fucking spooky scene. So you don't see this guy's face. He's like, she gets into bed and he's lying with like, you know, his back to her. And she gets in bed and she's like, you know, it's kind of a bit like Freddy Krueger, and you're like, when did she fall asleep? You know, that kind of stuff. And she turns over and she's like, look at me. And he's like, you want me to look at you? Because she's like, you know, because the whole thing is that she's feeling kind of shitty because it's the end of an era. She's talking about how she's not going to write the Marianne story anymore. She's going to write different things. And the moment she basically announces that she's retiring that like book series, shit starts to go a little weird for her. So, you know, she's in bed with her fiance, and he's like, oh, you really want me to turn around? She's like, yes. And then he's like, okay. And then he starts slowly turning over. And she's like, no. And then turns over so her back is towards him. And you just see, because the camera's focused on her and it's like kind of blurred on him. he turns around, he's got this unnaturally huge smile, and his eyes are doing the thing that animals' eyes do in the dark when you film them with like night vision cameras. And that was fucking scary. I was like, ooh, that's good. That's good. But yeah, so she starts like having visions that Marianne is getting mad at her for like not writing about her anymore. And it kind of goes on from there, and like, you know, an old childhood friend comes to see her and is like, my mother has read your books 1,000 times and she's convinced that she's possessed by Marianne, so you need to keep writing for Marianne, otherwise she's going to hurt people. And the woman they get to play, her friend's mother, is... Jesus Christ, this woman's face is fantastic. She's like French Bonnie Aaron. It's like the lady who played the nun from the Conjuring series.
Except this is a good thing.
Except this is good. Yeah. But yeah, she's got like these like real big bug eyes and like just really like intense but kind of vacant stare. And when she smiles, it's like Joker levels of smiling. That woman is fantastic.
A good face actor.
She's a fantastic face actor. Seriously, that woman is so inherently unsettling. It's fantastic. Also, can I just say, one thing I really love about European media, like, you know, TV shows or movies or whatever, is that people don't look Hollywood. As I like a lot of, like, you know, European and English stuff. It's just, they're just people. So, you know, they don't have the perfect teeth. They don't have perfectly straight noses. They're not all the same.
Separating the English from Europeans, and it's like, yeah, no, fair.
Yeah, exactly. This is the horrible world in which we live.
After Brexit, you have to separate them.
But yeah, and like they look like, I mean, they're all like, you know, like they're all decent looking people.
But they're just people.
They're just people though. And they're not like the cookie cutter perfect you see in Hollywood, which really gets boring after a while, you know? And it's just like, you know, they've got people with big noses. They have, like, the main character's dad is the most French man I have ever seen. He's fantastic. And, like her mum and dad, like, she walks in on them fucking, and they're, like, just an old pair of, like, 60-year-old people that you just see fully naked. And I'm like, you just wouldn't get this any... It's like, I don't really want to see, like, old people fucking, but it's like... Yeah, that's what old people who would be fucking would look like. So, you know, that's a nice bit of realism. Like, her mum runs out and, like, you know, flapping all over the place and, like, quickly putting a robe on, being like, we didn't know you were coming to visit. I'm sorry. And it's just, it's, you know, it's, I don't know. I'm having trouble explaining it, but it's just nice to see people just allowed to look like people.
There is a thing like where, yeah, I remember. What was it? I remember. I can't. Was it on a screen wipe thing, an old Charlie Brooker thing where they were talking to like
Love Charlie Brooker.
An American audience? They showed them like an episode of The Bill.
Oh, and they were like, "Why is everyone so ugly?" And it's like, no, no one has veneers over here.
It's like, no, this is just. It's like. Oh, obviously, people, you know, they're still actors at the end of the day. There is still those aspects of that people are picked for, you know, aesthetic reasons. And it all still happens. You know, the world is still a nightmare, but... but, you know, you watch, like, an average, like, drama over here and
you can see somebody with a crooked nose. You can see someone with like, acne scars. You can see somebody who's maybe not rail thin. You can see someone who maybe not be massively considered conventionally attractive, and it is not. I mean, again, it is still not great, but it's a lot more. These are just people you could pass on the street.
It grounds. It
grounds it
and makes it less the heightened reality of Hollywood and
where every lens is lubed and everyone's hair is perfect at any given fucking time. But yeah, no, and so that's always refreshing to see. It makes it feel a lot more real, especially in a horror setting. And also, her friend Arnold is so hot. Like Arnold, he's just this solid, chunky fucking like guy who always wears a hat, and he's got facial hair, and I'm just like, well, I'm done. Also, my favorite thing about this show, it's not anything to do with horror, but it's just. It gave me the warm fuzzies because it's so fucking real. So, the main character's upset I'm not going to say why, but she's having a hard time. She's really upset, and her friends have all kind of, because she's gone back to where she grew up, and all of her friends are still there. And so, they're hanging out in her parents' house with her, and she's just really upset. And they're like, okay, well, how about we get drunk? They're doing that thing. It's just like, well, we used to get drunk a lot as teenagers, so let's get drunk now. That'll make you feel better, and it visibly and immediately does not make her happy. So, the hot trucker cap guy stands up and he claps and he goes, okay, everyone, around the table. And all the friends kind of gather around. And he just goes, love hug. And they all give her this big group hug. And it was just, that is so sweet and so real, It's like, I've been in situations where friends have done that for, like, you guys have done that for me. And it was just so, what's the word? It was so heartwarming and... I can't find the word for it.
Again, it's a very real thing because most people will have been in a situation where they have been the hugger or the huggy
in that kind of thing. And it was just a really sweet moment because, like, one of my biggest pet peeves with any kind of media, like to do with, like, say, action or horror or anything like that, is when it's all consistently one mood. You know what I mean? So I like, if it's a horror movie and everyone's always like, oh my god, I went to put on my Pop-Tarts, but there was only one Pop-Tart.
You really shouldn't be doing voices.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you shouldn't.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, and it's just constantly dour all the time. And, like, no, there's, like, gallows humor is a thing. And you know what? That not only gives you a break in the tension... It makes you empathize in a stronger way with the characters. It grounds them and it makes them feel more realistic. And yeah, again, the big thing about horror especially is the tension. So if you have someone, like, make a joke, even if it's, like, bad, because guess what? Human beings do use humor as a coping mechanism. Hi, I've been doing it for like 100 years. Yeah, and it's like, and it does that. It has levity, and I'm like, thank you. I have been enjoying it. It's been a bit weird. There is, like, I'm still not quite sure what the fuck is going on, but I'm enjoying it, and it's always interesting to see a different culture's take on a genre that you like. Like watching like East Asian horror movies or whatever, and they all have their own different kind of, like, legends and what they consider scary and things like that. And it's just that's what I like about foreign cinema mainly.
They have their own archetypes that are not necessarily something that we have.
It's like in Japanese horror games and like just horror media, like bathrooms play a big part because that's a big thing for like the Japanese people at the time when they grew up. It was like toilets were kind of like flat to the floor and stuff. I think a good few of them still are. And there was like, oh yeah, you get like dragged into the toilet or you fall in and you're never seen again. So
yeah, those toilets are terrible.
They are. They're terrifying.
I remember having to use one once and being like, oh, this is the worst.
But yeah, and it's like just little things like that, and it's just really fun and interesting to see, and I'm seeing that in Marianne, and I like it. It's cool. And also all of their cars are from like the 60s.
Nice.
Okay.
I think it's supposed to be set like modern day.
Is it just a weird
it's a small French, it's
choice.
A rural French town.
Okay.
So everyone's always smoking. No, it's not. I'm taking the piss. But yeah, so again, check out the trigger warnings to see if you'd be comfortable with something like that. But I have been enjoying it. It's been pretty good. And now the video game.
Time for the video game portion.
Time for the video game portion. The obligatory. We need to do this. Necromunda Hired Gun.
Oh yeah, we played that thing.
Yeah, we played that on stream.
You broke it within like 30 seconds.
I literally broke it within the first 30 seconds because at heart I am a QA tester. You can wall run in it, and it starts off and you're in this big tube. So I just ran in a spiral up the tube and managed to get outside of the level's bounding box and fall forever. And it didn't have a kill zone. So I just kept falling, and I was like, well, I guess I gotta restart it. Woohoo, yay. But apart from that, you get a dog, you get a mastiff,
Nice.
And this is the best fucking piece of design. You can summon the Mastiff during a firefight. And the way you do that is you pull up a rat squeaky toy and squeeze it a bunch, and then the dog just bolts out of nowhere and starts mauling enemies. It's like, and then the dog just is like, "Ugh." It is awesome. I never get bored of that.
Can
it is
you
always...
pet the dog?
Yes!
Okay, good.
You can pet the dog. Not when you're in a firefight, but there's like a hub.
No. Yeah, okay.
And he's just hanging out next to fucking Cal Jericho, and you can go and give him like scritches and give him fuss, and you get achievement. You get an achievement for petting the dog, and I'm just like, yes,
yeah, nice.
I love it. But yeah, one of my favoritist things about it, that is a real word, shut up, is that the main character, because I picked a lady, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know this for sure, but I'm almost certain, because I know how games are made, that if you pick a man, there's just one male voice, and if you pick a woman, it's one woman voice. The lady's voice is, like, deeply, like, Northern English.
All I'll say is that the main character would pronounce boat as Bert.
Yeah, she's definitely from Yorkshire.
Yes, every regional accent is Yorkshire.
Yeah, it is. But no, and she's like... She's got such a thick accent, and I love it. It's so nice to hear that because, like, as I said, very intelligently and sexily during the stream because I'm so intelligent and sexy. That it's England has some of the most like regional variants when it comes to accents, and it's just nice to see them represented rather than just being like either fancy London or Cockney. Just seeing something that isn't that is awesome.
Yep.
And yeah, she's like, oh, tell me where he went. I want to kill him. And you're like, oh, I kept like just repeating things she'd said because I was like, that's so fun to listen to. This is fan-fucking-tastic. I love it. More, please. But anyway, onto the gameplay, which is the less important thing. It's first-person shooter, if you don't know. And it kind of seems to incorporate certain elements of like Doom 2016, so you have like finishing moves and shit, but unfortunately they do feel pretty fucking clunky. But seriously, you ain't gonna get it feeling as good as Doom.
Yeah,
that is a real big ask.
Say what you like about id, but they're quite good at first-person shooters.
Yeah, they are. There's probably a reason for that.
Yeah, I have no idea why.
The gun,
I've not researched anything.
Yeah, the guns feel pretty decent. It does feel like, you're pea shooting a bit, but they sound good. They look like fun. It's got a lot of loot in there, so you can kind of upgrade weapons. You can get special like stats. So it's kind of got like the Vermintide 2 kind of stat bonuses, and you find gear when you're out and about in the levels. And you can kind of, you can come back and you can modify your body. So you have like cybernetics and like bio like shit, which is really cool. You can like, so immediately I got the double jump because you have to get the double jump.
Unfortunately, the game is made by the people that made I Divine Cybermancy, so the menus are utterly incomprehensible.
Yeah, like I love you guys, but Jesus Christ, your UI. But yeah, like once you get around that, it's like, yeah, it's fine. And it is massively overwhelming because it's like, hey, you can do all this like ridiculously intricate shit to your weaponry. And I'm just like, I just want it to shoot harder. Which is, it's going to take me a bit to get used to. But yeah, it's just kind of, you have a hub world where you go and select missions and then you get sent out and do your missions and shoot a bunch of dudes and yeah. It's got like the Space Hulk kind of thing where you get 3 revives, like 3 like life revives before you game over a level. I haven't game overed a level, but that's just how Space Hulk used to be. You had a limited amount of revives. And yeah, like I am looking forward to playing more of that.
You're talking about Deathwing.
Oh, definitely, yeah, fucking...
Because there's a whole series of Space Hulk games, and multiple of them are different genres.
Workshop Wizard, I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, no, I'm enjoying it. I can see its influences, like, the Titanfall kind of, like, movement with the wall running and stuff like that, and like, the Doom 2016 with the, like, you get, like, a grappling hook that means you can, like, grapple yourself towards enemies. There's like a couple of like big ogrins as like they're kind of like mini bosses, and they really aren't very fun to play against. Not in a way that they're too difficult to fight or whatever. They're just really fucking boring. They jump over somewhere and then they do like a ground pound like ripple attack at you, or like throw something at you. I can't remember which one it is, and it just takes forever to take one of them down. And it's just, they're not fun. They're just bullet sponges, and it's just a bit tedious. But I mean, that's like the meanest thing I can say about it.
I mean, it is janky as fuck. But...
It is jank, but it's in that kind of endearing jank. Or at least as like the few hours I've played of it, it's kind of more kind of like a haha jank rather than a game-breaking one.
One of those like where, you know, there's a certain type of game where an animation bug is funny as opposed to being like, God, how did this make it past like QA testing?
Yeah. So yeah, I've been enjoying that. Looking forward to playing that some more. The last thing I watched was kind of a spur-of-the-moment Netflix pick called Sexy Beast.
I thought it was called Sexy Beasts.
Okay, it's not important. It's either Sexy Beast or Sexy Beasts, because the whole thing is, oh, so-and-so, I choose you to be my sexy beast. So it's singular, but fuck if I know.
This was on... Where did you watch this?
Netflix. Before you say anything.
Pornflix?
No.
NetHub?
Stop shaming me. Okay.
I'm not shaming you. I'm just...
Sexy Beast is a reality TV program where it's kind of like every episode has a different set of people, and you are checking Netflix to see if it's a fucking plural. I hate you. I hate you.
It's called Sexy Beasts because Sexy Beast was
a 2000
movie.
film. Yeah, great, fantastic, fucking great. Okay, so Sexy Beasts, plural. Jesus fucking Christ, it's like complaining on Twitter. It's like, oh yeah, no, I'm kind of pissed off because like, you know, this game is stuck running at like 20 frames a second. Oh well, and then you get some fucker in your fucking replies going, have you tried turning the settings down? I'm like, gee, David, thank you. That's so fucking thoughtful. I haven't been using computers since I was fucking 4 years old. Thank you so much for your fucking insight.
This isn't quite the same because you were wrong.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I'm still gonna fucking poison you.
Yeah, also fair.
Fucking well, actually. Get a fuck. Okay, Sexy Beasts, plural, is a British reality dating show that has an interesting concept. So you get the main person who's trying to find a date, and they have 3 contestants. But the difference is they put them in heavy prosthesis, or dress them up in, like, animal heads. And then they go out for dates, and it's kind of like more of a personality kind of thing. Which is a really cool idea, and you get to see some good prosthetics.
Yeah, some of them are
really, really good.
Really good.
You see, but there's a good handful of them that are just, we took this conventionally attractive woman and painted her head red and gave her horns. Ooh, will people think she's hot? Yes. Yes, they will. And it's like, the biggest problem I have with it so far is that every single person is so aggressively conventionally attractive. And it's like, I just want to see a normal person.
Yeah.
It does undermine the whole point of it supposed to, like, you know...
Yeah.
Like, it's supposed to, oh, you know, you're not supposed to, like, judge people by their looks. It's like, well, I mean, it's undermined a little bit.
Yeah. It really is. But I mean, the thing is, it's like, it just makes you sit there and reminisce about horrible dates you've had. Or maybe that's just from a female perspective, like a femme perspective. Because it's like, there's one of the guys in the first episode who's like quite sexually pushy. And he's like, oh yeah, you know, oh, like, it's nice being this close to you. I'd like to be more close to you all the time. And she's like, oh, really? Ah. And I was like, this is so uncomfortable. But then she, like, spoilers, she ends up picking that fucking creep anyway. So, you know, whatever. I guess some people are into that. But yeah, and it's just like, oh, okay. And it is interesting because they, like, take them on dates. So they go, like, axe throwing or something. but everyone else in there is just a person in there. So you see, like, in the background, people just having their lunch, just pointing, going, why is there a fucking panda throwing an axe? That's really weird. It's pretty, honestly, it's so weird, it's pretty entertaining. And, like, when one of them gets voted off, they show the person a picture of the person who's voted them off. Like, the main date chooser? I don't know. And, like, without their prosthesis on. And they usually go, oh, fuck, I'm gonna cry. It's just well fit, innit?
Well, most of them don't say that because most of the
half of them are American.
Well, most of them are American.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's, like, in London.
Yeah. It's really
so
weird.
It's so weird. But yeah, and, like... And, like, there was one guy there's this girl who's like, oh my god, so I, like, do this. And she was, like, super American hyper. And she went on a date with this guy. And he was like, so how would you describe yourself? She's like, I'm, like, super crazy. Like, all my friends would call me psychotic. I just want a baby. I'm 23. And he's like, oh. He's, like, the only normal person in that room.
What I liked is when he got voted off, he was like, yes!
Yeah, he was like, yeah! And then was, like, fucking fist bumping the other two, going, yeah! No offense. But yeah! He's just like, yeah, the moment she told me that all of her friends would have called her a psychopath, I was like, I'm out. And I'm like, actually, that's really healthy. That's really fucking healthy.
A fair decision on that man's part.
So it is very odd to behold, but very interesting at the same time. And I just wish they'd have someone who looked normal. Just an average person.
It's one of the, like, because I saw, like, most of it while you were watching it, because it's
something you have to see. It's so weird.
If it's on, you can't look away, you know?
Yeah.
It's absolute garbage, shit tier television, but
it kind of knows that it is.
But it knows that it is, and the level of, like, skill that has gone into there's a couple of really shaky ones, but most of the prosthetics that they wear means that the surreality of it all is just fascinating.
Well, yeah, it's like you're watching a demon and a baboon make out under an umbrella in, like, fucking Center Parks.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird.
Hello.
Or the guy who's the chicken who has two mouths. His beak is above his mouth.
Yeah, that one was a bit weird.
It was a bit creepy.
So, some of them do get a bit Cronenberg-y. But...
Yeah. But no, it's fucking weird. But yeah. And yeah, that's me done.
You've done.
That's me done. Done everything. So yeah, wibble it. Just a little bit.
Hello.
What have you been up to, Biscuit?
I've been up to quite a few things.
Has any of them been a video game?
2 of them have been video games.
I am sick of you coming in here, trying to make this a video game podcast, of which there are none, and showing me up personally.
So, I not only played 2, I've beaten 2.
Okay, get fucked.
The first one is Control, which I won't talk about too much because I've talked about it in the past, but...
SCP with a cute redhead.
Yeah. And yeah, Control's fucking great. It's also something that I don't want to talk about too much because I don't want to spoil the things that make it great, because it's a game that is buoyed mostly by how good its writing is. Like, the combat's pretty good and there's a lot to it, and you gain a lot of abilities, and it does fun things with it. But, like, it's the writing and presentation that really elevates it. Like, a good example would be, because... So the basic idea is it's like SCP stuff.
Secure, contain, protect. That. If you don't know what the SCP Foundation is, you should definitely Google it, because it's basically a collection of creepypastas. It's very cool.
And it basically takes the stuff that I like from SCPs and excises all the stuff that I find kind of silly. So there's not really monsters. There are, but there isn't. It's not really monsters.
It's more kind of like weird occurrences.
Yeah, it's more about objects that have been imbued with power, or imbued with some, like, what's the word? Some attribute that is unnatural, and the Bureau of Control takes these things in and has, like, they have a big jail called the Panopticon. Yes, very smart. You've read books.
Yeah.
Where they have all these things, and they have their own quirks. Like,
their own containment.
There's a
procedures.
fridge that has to be watched 24/7.
Why? Because otherwise, just make sure it's running.
I didn't actually complete that mission, so I don't know what the things are. But
what the fridge does.
I've been meaning to go back and do some of the side quests and stuff.
I can guarantee you, though, it will be more satisfying than the cake of infinite growth that's an SCP,
yes.
Which is a shit SCP that I hate because it has no idea about... Okay. I'm very briefly going to touch on it because otherwise I will talk about it for hours. It is said that if you don't eat this cake completely, it will cover the Earth's surface by replicating itself in 4 days, which is just like... And I think it does give you
like a problem.
It gives you a growth rate of how much it increases its mass, and it's like there is no fucking way that a cake... I mean, okay, barring, obviously, it's a fucking cake, and cakes aren't inherently magical, although I would argue Black Forest gâteaux are. I want to eat cake.
Okay.
It's just, it's very silly. And it's like, okay, if this exists, solve world hunger with it. You won't nourish people with it, but you'll be feeding them. They'll have food in their bellies. Oh no, we just keep it there and get D-class personnel to eat the cake every few hours, and
that's not the part that bothers me, because it's like a shady government organisation wasting resources to do shady shit, which is literally the history of states.
Solve world hunger, which I guess actually is very fitting.
It checks out.
Yeah, you know what? Hush my whore mouth. I'm sorry.
But this is it's the same kind of thing, but it really focuses on objects of power and altered items, which is the name for it. Objects of power are greater, more powerful, and they can be bound to a user who can then gain their abilities, and that's where all of your abilities come from. So, I think the dash that you get comes from a carousel horse.
Oh God!
That would just zip around and stuff. There's a TV that gives you the ability to fly, because that's what it could do. It could hover.
Just like a real TV.
Yeah, just like a real TV.
That's what CRTs used to do, kiddies, before all these lovely LCD screens. We had to have floating CRTs, cathode ray tubes. That's what cathode means. It means the ability to fly.
It does not. But yeah, so they have all these things, and it sort of covers that, and you find out that the Bureau itself, the history of it, and it's great. But a good example of the game having just a really fun sense of humour, where it has this quite serious and over the top kind of story, but then you'll enter a room and it is covered in post-it notes. Every surface is covered in post-it notes, and you find an actual report in there that someone's saying, okay, after placing down this item that was an altered item post-it note, it started multiplying and I can no longer use my office, so if you need me, I'll be in the cafeteria filling out my paperwork.
I love how it's an inconvenience. Yeah, because there would be. Yeah, why can't you absorb that power and just an enemy?
Because it's not an object of power. It's merely an altered object, which are two different classifications.
Okay.
If I remember it.
Because how cool would it be to have the power of post-its?
Alan Wake is also canonically part of this universe, as is technically Max Payne because of that. But they can't call it that because Max Payne is owned by Rockstar.
Yeah, but canonically in the story, how it should be, Alan Wake wrote Max Payne.
But you actually meet Alan Wake in Control as a DLC for it.
That's bananas. Did Kasabian play?
No, but there was a bunch of licensed music in it. So if you're streaming it, there is a button to turn that off.
Oh, excellent. I love it when there's buttons to turn that off.
But yeah, I do think the end of the game, the combat, it gets a bit combat heavy, and because of the way the game works, its level up system, if you're a bit underleveled for a place, it can be a bit of a pain in the arse to get past that. So I don't know, I'm not 100% cool with the combat towards the end.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but it's just, it's that sort of thing where that's the sort of level of critique I have to have. Aside from the fact that it's optimized like dog shit. But,
Yeah.
But, it's a really good game and absolutely worth your time. The other game I played was a much smaller affair, which was called Deepest Sword.
Oh,
which is... So do you remember that?
The other day.
Oh, yeah, I did. When I was watching Sexy Beast. On, what was it you called it? Porn... Flicks or something? I think that is such a bad name for a porn site that it doesn't exist. Let me Google it real quick.
Okay, you Google that while I explain
I'm
this.
gonna go look at porn while you guys...
Yeah, sure. It'll keep you entertained.
I'll turn my volume down.
Yeah, it's probably the best. So, you know that game, Getting Over It, with, is it Bennett Foddy?
Oh my god, it is an actual thing. Let me have a look.
Okay. That's a real thing.
I'm gonna search for Winky. Winky porn videos. Oh, there aren't any.
Oh wow! It's almost as if that's not a normal word that would be used within pornography.
Oh, there's a lot of boobs.
Yeah,
CBT.
That will happen in pornography. Anyway, Deepest Sword. It's like the kind of Bennett Foddy Getting Over It thing, where you're not able to jump, but you need to like climb things, and the way you do it is that you have a big heavy sword, like basically your fucking guts from Berserk. And the entire thing is based around the joke, is it in yet?
Oh my god.
Because you climb your way up like the initial level, which is just really climbing up a dragon who does literally say, is it in yet? When you jam the sword into their hole, and it's not long enough. So then you die and you respawn, but your sword is longer.
It ain't about the size of the bark and iron. It's about the skill of the
And
user.
every time your sword gets bigger, another section of level is added. So you have more to get through. And eventually it gets long enough to actually defeat the dragon. There is a fair bit of innuendo in it, yes. And it's quite short if you're really good at the game. Yeah.
It starts off short. Oh, that was really
If you're really, really good at the game, if you'd have started playing it when I first mentioned its name, you could have beaten it by now. It took me like 20 odd minutes or something. Because I'm not very good at those games anyway. But it's free on Steam. If you're interested, it's a weird experience.
What was it called again? Is it in yet?
It's called Deepest Sword.
Okay.
I would have called it Pork Sword.
It is a regular sword. It's just really long.
It should be made of pork.
No, because I think it's just sexual enough. If they'd have done anything more, then it would have crossed the line into just being crass.
Why can't it be?
I mean, it's already pretty, but you know.
Shit, I forgot the name of it. Oh god. Dongyans and dragons. No, it's the Willy game where they've got buttholes.
Yeah.
And it's genital jousting.
Genital jousting. That's it. Yeah, I just want to play genital jousting again.
Well, you can.
That bemoans the inherent fatalist nature of capitalism and how it is just a big machine that kills hopes, dreams, and the human spirit. And also,
that game does cover
there's
that,
a lot of personal responsibility there. And also, you are a penis.
Yep. Anyway, so yeah, Deepest Sword is a video game that exists, and you can play it right now. You could play it while this podcast is playing. In fact, that's the thing you could do, and then let us know how you found it.
I disassociated for a moment and forgot you weren't talking about Control, and I thought there was like an object of power that is just a big dick innuendo thing, and honestly, that wouldn't be massively out of place.
Not that I remember.
We haven't done all the side quests.
The rest of the things I want to talk about are all cartoons, because I apparently spent the most of the last month watching cartoons.
Well, you couldn't do any work because I was either depressed or like literally couldn't speak.
Or it was too hot. It's been, the last few weeks
It
have been
has
weird.
been hellish. Climate change is real. Fuck everything.
We are somehow, in terms of our schedule, either like several weeks behind or several weeks ahead on everything.
Have we like lapped ourselves?
With no in between. So I think I said on Twitter that I think we're going to end up like a bus service, and like all of the videos are going to come at once.
I thought both of us were going to come at once.
Well, I'm going to talk about children's cartoons after that. Well, okay, I'm going to talk about 3 good cartoons and 1 incredibly bad cartoon Which way round do you think I should talk about?
I think you should leave the worst for last.
Okay.
Yeah.
Build up to it, you know?
Okay, so the first one I want to talk about is Masters of the Universe Revelation.
Oh, that looks really cool. And Mark Hamill plays Skeletor.
He does, which...
And so does Lena Cersei.
Henley?
She does not play Skeletor as well. No, she plays fucking like Serpentera. I can't remember her name.
Fucking hell, Evelyn!
Serpentera, that's what I say.
No!
I just wish I could be her, and I'm really angry that I'm not.
I don't want to give away anything about this one other than to say it's quite cool and it messes with expectations, and that makes the worst people on YouTube real mad, which is quite funny.
I didn't care about He-Man or She-Ra. Then, like, they made it good, and now I'm angry about it because I am uncomfortable when it's not about me.
It's genuinely really cool, and I do recommend you watch it. It's one of those things where they've like split the story up into two halves. So we've got the first part of it now, and it's going to have another part later. I don't know if they are actually counting them as two separate seasons, or if it's like season 1, part 1, season.
Oh, they're
one,
not
part two
having
sort of thing.
seasons now. They're all being snooty pricks and going, "Oh, this is part 1." It's like, motherfucker, it's season 1. Don't you fucking try and be fancy.
The bad one I've got to talk about does that in spades.
Ugh.
So
gross.
But yeah, that's it's really good. Definitely recommend. Great performances all round.
Yeah, there's some seriously strong vocal chops there. Also, Man-at-Arms is fucking hot as shit. Oh, he daddy.
And yeah, some just real fun ways of playing with the setting and integrating the silliness in with trying to make it more grounded, but not fucking around with it. Also, hearing Evelyn say, go, "Oh, bollocks," was something I didn't know I needed in my life.
Pretty good.
Excellent.
Second is a Centaur world.
I follow one of the main people involved in that.
Megan Nicole Dong?
Yeah, I follow her on Twitter.
Because I've been following
her for a long while.
Yeah, I've been following her for years from her weird shark comics that she used to do.
Yeah, she's real cool.
Because I think she's the creator and like showrunner of it, if I remember rightly.
She was posting a lot of art guides and stuff, like reference sheets and stuff.
Yeah, I've seen
Before
some
it came
reference
out,
sheets. But yeah, so the basic thing of that show is that in a sort of like, it's almost like Avatar: The Last Airbender style kind of world, where there is this rider. She's just known as Ryder throughout the show, who has a horse, like a war horse, and they're dealing with these fucking like orcs. I think they actually state they're supposed to be minotaurs, or minotaurs, however you want to pronounce it. I don't care. But like, and they're fighting those, and they've got like an artifact. And they're racing through, and like the animation in this like first bit is like this like really high octane, like great action animation. It's really cool, like defeating these things, and then a thing happens, and the horse wakes up in a cartoon world full of centaurs that are like centaurs of different animals. So there's like a llama.
Everything is a centaur.
Yeah, there's a llama centaur. There's a bird centaur. There's a giraffe centaur.
There's a naked mole rat centaur who's the best character in the world.
They're not a naked mole rat. They're just a mole.
They're a mole. But the upper half is just a naked man.
Comfortable Doug is the best character in fiction.
I know
Doug.
that.
His name's Comfortable Doug.
And he has a music number, and the fucking funniest shit is he turns around to a vegetable, like I think it's like a carrot, and he goes, "I know that you are a vegetable, but are you comfortable?"
Which is the best. Comfortable Doug is the best character, and I love them.
I love Comfortable Doug so much.
But yeah, it's like a musical as well. There's so like every episode has like multiple musical numbers in it. It's a lot of fun.
It's really weird.
It's really fucking weird.
In the best way.
Like a good example would be they go through like their because all the centaurs have magical powers. Because the horse can suddenly talk when they enter this centaur world as well, which, you know, so they freak out initially, and then they meet all of these cartoon characters. Because on a fundamental level, though they're all cartoon characters, the horse, that's just their name, is just horse. They are not supposed to be like a cartoon character. It's kind of supposed to be a bit of a like,
Who's framed Roger Rabbit?
It's Space Jam.
It's
the
Space
horse
Jam,
is
but
Michael
good.
Jordan.
Michael Hall.
And it enters into this cartoon world, and like they've all got magical powers, and like one of the magical powers is they can fire smaller versions of themselves out of their hooves.
That is so weird.
And then they land, and then these things scream and run away, and they go,
scream in existential horror.
And the horse is like, "Where do they go?" And they're like, "We have no idea."
Yeah.
It's fucking weird, but yeah, it's
like
a lot of fun.
There's like one of them that opens up their stomach and is a fucking kleptomaniac.
The Dia one is a kleptomaniac and keeps jamming things they steal inside of their portal stomach hole. And this is
weird.
This is portrayed in ways that are both like it's them eating something and in ways that are somewhat sexual. And they occasionally try and fit things that are much bigger than them inside their hole.
It's fine, you just gotta work your way up to it. It's fine.
Yeah, with lots of uncomfortable language revolving around that. They are fucking great.
I just typed it into my phone to remember what it was so I can check it out because it sounds very intriguing. And I've learned that Jamie Cullum's in it, so that's something I've learned.
Okay. I don't really know
They do
voice cast.
I don't know, pop, jazz, weirdness, I don't know.
Fuck yeah. Oh yeah, he was famous like 20 years ago.
I have no idea if he was like an X Factor or pop stars or I don't know, one of those ones. Or he might have just been like famous for,
Wasn't he like one of those pop stars who like is actually like unreasonably talented?
I can just say
idea.
drummer Matt.
And they just were able to become famous for a brief time, and everyone's like, but this isn't like a regular pop star thing. This is like someone who's like a proper like pianist. Like they actually
who just happens to have taken the pop star route.
Yeah,
and they got spat out because it's hey,
they were like kind of pop jazz
musician.
stuff. Yeah,
maybe, but I just hadn't heard his name for like I don't know 10 years, and he plays Sunfish Murguy apparently, whatever that means.
Oh, excellent!
Sunfish Murguy.
Oh, I don't want to spoil anything about Sunfish Murguy, but that entire segment is fucking great. Especially the lead up to him is beautiful.
Literally, Wib like dragged me away from the computer. I was like, "You have to look at this. This is something you'll understand."
This sounds
I was like,
they made me draw so many eggs.
And
you'll understand that later.
I felt a great kinship with that.
That's great. I also don't want to say, because what I was saying, I don't want to insinuate that every pop star is like fucking talentless.
Oh no.
Some kind of are, but lots aren't. I don't want to be. Oh, they're not like real music, because fuck it. What is real music? Who cares? If you like sounds, you like sounds. This is what sounds you like. I don't want to be fucking a dickhead about it.
Unless it's Katy Perry, because she is abysmal live.
I
She cannot hold a tune.
I wonder if she ever did learn to sing.
I don't pay attention. She had so much raw potential there, but like the times I've seen her sing live is just like, are you even trying? Completely out of time, completely out of tune, and it's like, look, please just develop this skill because you will have a great voice. But anyway.
The other really good one is I caught up with what has been currently aired, because the second season is currently airing, of The Owl House.
I am haunted constantly by my actions.
Which is
hoot, hoot.
Fucking spectacular. The Owl House.
But you will love The Owl House.
I cannot recommend. Yeah,
yes.
I cannot. The first season's on Disney Plus now in the UK. I don't know if the second season's on like it in other countries yet. But it is spectacular. The characters in it are great.
King is basically how I envision myself.
King.
Visually.
There's a character called King who is like basically a dog, but with a skull face.
Yeah.
They're king of demons, is what that
and they're
means.
super cute.
They're voiced by Alex Hirsch, the guy that that was the main guy behind Gravity Falls, who also voices Hootie, who is the manifestation of the Owl House itself, who is a Lovecraftian horror that is mostly just annoying to people, and every line that Hootie has is fucking gold. Again, this is another one I don't want to say too much about because it is too good to spoil things about, but it like has that thing where it's nice and wholesome and has lots of fun things. It's also, if say hypothetically you happen to be really into a series that was about a magical school, and you have been put off ever consuming any part of it again by the fact that its author is an absolute garbage person. Just hypothetically putting that out there.
Just, stabbing in the dark.
Then
what she'll get if she doesn't start fucking bucking up her ideas.
Then the Owl House has a magical school, but is also, like, just really wholesome and super gay and
it gets
great.
gay.
It's great, legit, and really funny. Like, just really, like, the amount of times I'm watching it, and I'm just like laughing out loud at this kids' TV show. Really good. Cannot recommend Owl House enough. It goes into the pantheon of like really good recent like animated series, like, you know, your Steven Universes and
DuckTales.
Like, I actually watched the end of the last few episodes of the last season of DuckTales as well, because I hadn't caught up, and that is also just unreasonably good kids TV shows.
Now get to the shit one.
I did watch one that was absolutely fucking terrible, which wasn't a kids one per se, but it was I watched the entirety of the Transformers War for Cybertron trilogy, which is on Netflix. It was
really entertaining for me because you had to keep pausing it every 15 minutes to complain for half an hour and then went back to it.
It's that kind of show.
It is.
Now it's partially done by the Rooster Teeth guys.
So that's why it sucks.
I have never watched a Rooster Teeth video.
Oh, I have.
I've seen a couple of Red vs. Blue videos, but all I'll say is I have no ill will to these people, but their sense of humour is not my sense of humour. So I've never got into Red vs. Blue or anything.
But the sense of humour is just something I'm not into.
Yeah, it's not my thing. So I went into this like completely clean, like I've got no... I had no preconceptions going into it. I didn't even know how people liked it or anything.
How much people liked it.
Yeah, how much people liked it. And I quickly found out that it was shit, and most people thought it was crap. So
I see.
The best way to describe it is it's a CG Transformers series, and it's based broadly on G1. So it starts off on Cybertron with you've got original Optimus Prime, original Megatron, all the like original cast are kind of there, and it goes through like a new kind of framing of events. Like they come to Earth, but it's different, and it sort of resolves that initial conflict in a different way. It's sort of what it's kind of doing, and it does it in this trilogy, which is 3 ones, which I think the first one's called Siege, the second one's called Earthrise, and the third one's called Kingdom. And they're all 6 episodes long. 6 or 8, I forget. And that all sounds kind of cool. Like, it's going for a bit of a darker vibe. It's obviously trying to appeal to people like me who grew up watching the original cartoon. That's who it's trying to appeal to. And like, okay, fair enough. And like that doesn't seem like a bad idea. The problem is that it is plagued with some of the worst, like, kind of structural kind of writing I've seen in a show ever. It is written it's written like a serialized fan fiction, and I don't mean that as a slight on fan fiction.
I read a lot of fan fiction, and it's good. So.
Yeah, that's no slight on people who write fan fiction or read fan fiction. What it means is that there is particular quirks of the way that, like, say if someone starts writing a fan fiction and they did not intend for it to... They were just writing it like chapter by chapter. They didn't really know where they were going apart from a broad idea. So ideas will be brought up in one chapter and then just kind of dropped because they realised they didn't really know what they wanted to do with it. And they're just kind of writing and just seeing where it ends. There's not like a big like end point planned. It feels like that. So... MacGuffins, like, things will be brought up in an episode and then 2 episodes later are discarded, and you go, oh, they're going to bring it up later, and then they just don't ever for the rest of it. Like, a good example, and I don't mind spoiling this because it's a shit series and you shouldn't watch it, and also it's not important because nothing is important in the show. At one point a character dies, and they are said to have like the Autobots, they have the whole matrix of leadership thing that Optimus Prime has, and another member has like the combined knowledge and strategy of their predecessors, and that's like the other part of the leadership. So they share the leadership, just how like the power of it, and that's how they're supposed to work. And when that robot is killed, that knowledge goes out to the next worthy transformer, which goes to filthy liberal Bumblebee, because he hasn't chosen a side. He's sitting on the fence.
You know what they say about not choosing a side? It always sides with the status quo.
Calling him a liberal is actually wildly inaccurate, but like it goes to him, and so he's got like all this knowledge because he hasn't decided whether he wants to join the Decepticons or the Autobots, and in doing so he joins up with the Autobots and sort of learns out about their kind of ethos and kind of tries to join in with what they're doing. And then a virus is spread that takes that knowledge away from him, so he's no longer got all the tactics and stuff. And then it never comes up again in the entirety of the rest of the show.
Well, I mean, it's not that important, is it?
So it's like this thing that is brought up, this, oh God, where did it go? Where did this power go? And they're like, we must track down this power. And then they just don't do anything with it. And it just becomes irrelevant, like on episode 4, and it's like mentioned like once again. And this happens multiple times throughout the show. If something big is brought up, it does sound like
really scatterbrained, poorly written fanfiction.
It's just it's like they wrote the story out in one sitting and then didn't. Or I guess in lots of sittings.
Does it feel like a first draft published?
Yeah, it's like not even a first draft feels like it would just be messy in places, but it just has lots of things that are brought up and abandoned. Also, it has lots of like characters who will appear in ways that don't make sense. So a good example is quite late on in the series, there is a part where some characters are in a jail. They've been locked up by the Decepticons, and there is a finite amount at this point of Decepticons and Autobots in play. You should have a good idea of how many there are on either side for any stakes to hold, any kind of weight. And then, for one episode, Astro Train, the one that turns into both a train and a space shuttle, is just in the episode as the jailer. And you're like, where did they come from? Where did they come from? I thought I knew every Decepticon that was around right now, and it keeps doing that. They'll just you'll think you'll have a handle on how many characters are in this show, and then it'll just introduce one for an episode, and you go, okay, I guess I've got to fucking deal with Cog now. And then he's just gone. Admittedly, in Cog's case, he gets fucking killed, but although he does also get scanned at one point, and for weapons, they're like, he's got no weapons. He turns into a gun.
Then he technically doesn't have any weapons. He is a weapon.
You can see the cannons on his shoulder because he turns into like a mounted gun thing.
And
and that's a plot point because he turns into the gun while they're inside.
It can't.
It's not just
complex machines.
It's not just like a thing where you can just ignore it because he turns into like some cannons that people wear on their shoulders. So it's like it's fine. It's if they never addressed it in the thing, you're just not supposed to think about it. But no, he turns into them, and that's a plot point. So it makes no. It's really fucking weird, and the show is full of shit like that. But it does have the biggest crime that I cannot forgive it for. So, the voice acting is mostly all right.
Oh, I know where this is going. I've got to brace myself.
Yeah. So, Optimus Prime, the person doing their voice is trying to do their best. What's his fucking name? Cullen? Was it the guy that did
something like that
original? I might got that wrong, but the guy that did the original Optimus Prime voice, he's trying to do a version of his voice, and he can do a decent impersonation of it when he's speaking. But if he needs to shout, he can't do it. So he ends up sounding most of the time like Optimus Prime is passing a kidney stone.
People have said that about me too.
Megatron has a very different take on the character. He talks like more placidly a lot. He does get angry and stuff, but he's mostly kind of talking down low. He makes him into more of a menacing role, and it's different to obviously the original version. The Frank Welker did his voice originally. It's very different to that version, and it's like, you know what, it works.
I mean, yeah,
it's doing its own thing.
There ain't nothing like wrong with trying something new, especially when there's a certain amount of iconicness to a thing. It's like the whole kind of like, I don't like Jared Leto's Joker, but they couldn't do a Heath Ledger, even though they ended up basically just making him gangster Heath Ledger Joker, but shit. And
well,
Jared Leto can go die in a fucking hole.
This is actually a good example of that, because the person trying to imitate the G1 Optimus Prime ends up just being a bad version of that.
This is the thing. Don't imitate stuff unless you're like, I don't know, Mark Hamill, because he's a fantastic voice actor. But like, don't imitate stuff because you'll never be perfect. You might as well just do something on your own, because you might make a new perfect.
Yeah, and the Megatron one works quite well. Now, in the last season of it, they come to Earth and they meet the Maximals and Predacons from Beast Wars.
Beast Wars was fucking legit.
It
was so terrible, I loved it.
No, but actually, watch it again. Like, it was aged really badly, like visually, but story-wise, Beast Wars is actually genuinely pretty good.
Fucking love it.
My
favourite part is when they turned back into their animal forms, because it was so rare to see.
They did all the time. It was all in every episode all the time.
I wanted more of it.
There was a whole thing that they could only stay in their robot forms for so long because of the Energon knocking around, if I remember rightly.
I wanted more of it.
Okay, well, they were in it most of the time.
I wanted more.
I think you might be misremembering the show.
Maybe.
Like,
but you can't prove that. Not in any way.
I mean, I can, because you were saying they should be in their beast forms more, and that was their standard form.
Oh, what was the white tiger dude?
Tigertron
or something.
I think his name was Tigertron.
Yeah. Fucking of course it was. Like, you never saw him. You barely ever saw him.
He wasn't in the show much. He would
like in his like fucking he was like
in his
form.
You saw
him in his tiger form like all the time, because like he would like show up to Cheetor and be like, "Hey Cheetor, I'm also a cat person.
Yeah, he was.
Let's hang out, bro.
He was one of the ones
that like candy."
He was one of the ones that didn't like join the main cast for a long time.
He was a filthy liberal.
Because he was kind of nomadic. And yeah. I think he was more of a conscientious objector.
Okay.
But
anyway.
But yeah, they come to and they meet them, and it is a bit weird because you're used to seeing the Beast Wars robots in CGI because they originally were.
Yeah.
And the designs of the Autobots and Decepticons are based on the toys more than anything else. So there is a bit of a weird incongruity because they do all of the original Transformers looking like toys, but then all of the Beast Wars ones look like their original CGI version. So it's a bit weird. They don't really look like they belong together sometimes. But the big crime they do when they do that is that there are two, I think, really iconic voice performances in Beast Wars. There is Dinobot's voice, which is mostly funny because it's Lord Bale from Dawn of War 1.
Yeah.
The voice actor doing
the same voice.
Literally the same voice, and it's great. And Megatron, because the Megatron in that has his classic turn of phrase where he'll be talking and then go, yes. And it's great.
It's perfect. That was the best part of that fucking show.
Another good example of someone putting their own spin on that version of Megatron. And it's the most... It's like if you're going to do a Megatron... Like, I know we're talking about doing your own spin on it, but the version of Beast Wars Megatron they have... They give him a yes in his opening little bit of dialogue, and it's just like, oh yes, we came over here. Yes.
Yeah.
Like
he was proofreading the line before they even started recording.
He didn't even milk it. He's actually he's just got such an unmemorable voice.
What was it you said? You said that literally no one's Megatron yes is bad, but he managed to do it badly.
I have never heard anyone do a Beast Wars Megatron yes that hasn't been fun. Like, all he had to do was when he did that one line, because if they just didn't want to have that be a thing in his thing, fine.
Honestly, I would have preferred if they hadn't had a reference.
Yeah, if they didn't have it in there, okay. I mean, I really don't like how they the characterization of Megatron in.
He's like simpering after like other Megatron.
He is simping hard for OG Megatron in a way that makes his character completely uninteresting. He's
just a sniveling little shit.
Yeah. But yeah, the fact he doesn't do that, I was like watching it and going like, if you're gonna have Beast Wars Megatron, why not have the yes? Like, he doesn't have to have the same voice. He can have his own performance, but at least have one yes.
Yeah.
Like, because that's just that character. It's the thing everyone remembers.
Or if you could
him.
not do that, you know what I would do? I would have it so that a bunch of the Deceptimals or what, I can't remember what
Predacons.
Fuck. Okay, I used to watch that a lot and I can't remember anything about it.
This show you don't remember anything about, apparently.
I have memory problems, you fucking asshole. Anyway.
All of your... Like, you say, oh yeah, the one thing I hated about the show was when
I hated
they
when,
were...
like, Fran Drescher showed up and started taking care of the kids. It was
terrible.
like, what?
I hated it when Dr. Fraser Crane...
I hate it when his brother, fucking Hank
I hated
McCoy
it when it
from
was
X-Men.
a spin-off of Heavy Gear.
Fuck off.
I
Okay.
hated it when Bob and Dot...
Bob and Dot.
We're-
Bob and Dot.
Yeah.
Bob and Dot?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We're running around.
Are we?
Yeah.
Are we?
Yeah.
Alright, cool, yeah. I would have had it so that he, like that initial thing would have, like, that initial encounter was like, oh yes, let's do that. Yes. And then I'd have, like, a bunch of, like, Predacons afterwards being like, did you see Megatron? He was all like, oh, yes. Like, I would have had them, like, making fun, because it's a reference and they go, look, we know.
The thing is, they did have a few self-referential jokes like that in the show, but it was just... I don't know. When I say that was like the biggest crime, honestly, that's small potatoes. Because the big problem with it is it's just so poorly written from start to finish. Like, the dialogue is not...
That was so fucking brutal.
That's just it, though. Like, the dialogue is not in and of itself that much of a problem most of the time. It has some real clunkers, but it's not the big problem, like, a lot of the time. But it is just... It's just so... When someone says it's like fan fiction, every negative possible interpretation of that you can take from it is present there, with the possible exception of all the characters fuck.
They fuck?
They don't.
Oh.
They do establish a few like relationships between characters, but they're all like not really a big deal. So you know. But yeah, I cannot recommend Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy. It is very bad. And it is bad in a way that if you start watching it, you will feel the need to watch the rest of it. Because you will go...
Like watching a train crash?
Yeah, you'll go, this can't continue to be this much of a mess. But no, it can. Also, a really fun thing is they obviously couldn't... they didn't have the budget to like have transformations for everybody. So the amount of times a character will run off screen, you'll hear the transformation noise, and then there'll be a car on the other side.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
how intellectually dishonest.
It's weird. It's very weird.
I do love your summing up. This minor nitpick I have isn't really the issue. The real issue is that it's entirely shit all over. Yeah, okay, right.
It's like, it's like, oh, this tiny issue, isn't it? But my biggest problem is the fact that everyone to do with this is a murderer. The writing was like the worst thing I've ever read.
This is actually the thing. It's what I'm really trying to, or was really trying to get at there, rather than just like I am being like hyperbolic, you know. But the problem is like each individual part of it is not unsalvageable, except for its overall structure, and that's the big problem. Is that it's like the nuts and bolts writing of how it gets from point A to point B, like. The dialogue, how it gets there, is sometimes clunky, but is serviceable. Like it's fine. But it's just how they chose to... The base narrative of it is just a mess. And it makes it undermines every single possible good thing about it. The main antagonist of this 3-part mini... It's like 3 mini-series that are one big series. Like, there are even 3 entries on Netflix. It's unnecessary.
Oh, yeah.
Even that, like, that's a good example. Like, why would that just makes it awkward to watch? Like, why would you do that? And they've done and all of the possible good things about it. Like the animation's fine, the action's fine. It has some fun moments. Getting the Beast Wars and old stuff together is cool. It has Starscream, always a plus. But just it is much less than like the sum of its parts. Like it should be better, but that one thing of that it does everything to make you not care about its narrative means that any possible good from it is completely taken away. And I was shocked by the end of it. I was like, I am shocked by how bad this was. Yeah, and I'm not even a big Transformers guy, so I had no like. the last Transformers thing I have real strong memories of is G1, which is not good.
I remember before we were dating, we were chatting on fucking... God, what? MSN Messenger.
Yeah.
And you were like just jacking off about the Transformers Michael Bay movie. Because they put out an admittedly very cool teaser. Which...
Yeah, the original one.
Yeah. Which was like, oh yeah, look, we've got a little drone on some planet. Isn't this cool? And you see it like a Transformer just like football kick the fucking thing. And you were just like, oh, it's so good. I love Transformers, me. And I'm like, yep. We're going to fuck or what? No. I wasn't like that.
Our courtship was a strange one.
It wasn't.
But yeah, if you liked Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy, fair enough. I don't know how, but fair enough. I make no judgment to you. I merely make judgment on the show, which is bad. And now I will be quiet. And the people who watch it, and the people who like it, and the people who made it. And humans in general, it's made me doubt the possibility of good for humanity, so there is that.
Fair.
Yeah.
Anyway, Drama Butt. Seeing as Wib never shuts the fuck up, could you, tell us questions?
Yeah, there's some questions.
Cool. What's the email address? DrummerMatt.
thedrummermatt@gmail.com.
Please send your questions there. We love reading them and occasionally answering them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay.
Drumbly Bumbly.
So, first up, Aurora.
Hello, Aurora.
Question about the Little Sisters army they mentioned a while ago, which, honestly, I can't remember. I'm very sorry.
Little Sisters of Purification.
Yeah. So, they ended up making them Dark Angel successors, but they're going to, rather than calling the whole thing the Sisters of Purification, they're calling the Death Wing the Sisters of Purification. So now they need names to call the other wings.
Ooh.
So Raven Ring are going to be Sisters of the Hunt.
Ooh, cool. That's solid.
But they're looking for names for the Iron Ring, which are the heavy vehicles, and the Green Ring, which are the standard troops.
Sisters of Iron.
I mean, that's.
Yeah.
I kind of want to say Sisters of the Line for the standard, because that's just the line troops.
Yeah, sure, that's good too.
Or you could kind of make it a bit more poetic and have it Sisters of the Wall or the Bulwark. I never know how to pronounce that word.
Sisters of the Bulwark. Yeah, it's like Bulwark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do something like that. And yeah, I do like Sisters of Iron.
That sounds incredibly violent.
Yeah,
Sisters of Steel. But then you get into the Brotherhood of Steel and shit like that. So
yeah, you can do, yeah.
But just get fucking flowery with it. I mean, Sisters of the Hunt is so cool already.
Yeah.
So yeah, Drama Butt. What about you?
Yeah, I like those suggestions, to be honest. I'm struggling to think of anything better.
That's fair. We are amazing.
All right. Next up, sentient hair. This is a very serious and important question.
Okay, sentient hair, lay it on us.
And I'm expecting a 2-word answer from both of you at the same time.
Okay.
How much better would the Imperial Fists be if instead of using the pain glove, they used the pain au chocolat?
Fuck off.
Yes, that is exactly the response I was expecting. I almost wrote it down on a bit of paper. This is what they're going to respond with. I didn't, because it's an audio visual. It wouldn't have worked. But, audio medium. Yeah.
If it helps, I just stared off into the middle distance and just accepted that this is where my life has got.
Fuck off, sentient hair. How dare you? Actually, how fucking dare you? You come to my fucking podcast with that? Fuck you. I'm so mad I didn't think of it first. I am so mad.
Next up, Grox.
Hey, Grox.
And answering a question that you apparently asked, Snipe, favourite cheese.
I ask a lot of questions. Yeah, what's your favourite cheese?
Mozzarella, but specifically on cooked meals, cooked and melted on.
I like it on pizza.
Yes, it's good on pizza.
Or a pizzà is how Italians actually pronounce it.
They do not.
They do.
They do not.
You've been to... Fuck off the barriers. Holy shit.
Grox's question. Over the decades, we've seen all kinds of movie genres being ported into space. So we've got space western, horror in space, space fantasy, blah, 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 blah.
Stuff. Yeah.
But there hasn't been much that was completely underwater. What genre would you like to see take place underwater?
Period drama. Just exactly the same, but there's just a water filter over them. How fucking legit would that be?
Well, I mean,
Don't fucking face palm at me. That is the most aggressive facepalm I've seen you do in like the last 3 months.
That wasn't actually a facepalm. I merely had an itch on the side of my head.
I merely had an itch on the side of my head.
I have seen a lot of genres underwater because I've watched the entire run of SeaQuest, which is a show that goes places.
I was going to say, this is just going to bring up SeaQuesting, isn't it? That's
which has done, like, that has straight up done... It's a sci-fi show, but has done fantasy.
But we're not talking about that right now. So apart from Pride and Prejudice in, like, Atlantis, or fucking whatever...
I mean, we've done... Aquaman had kaiju in underwater kaiju, which admittedly, Godzilla's done a lot of underwater kaiju as well, but, you know...
An underwater western would be pretty good. Like, you know, the doors would swing open really fucking slowly in the saloon, and then they'd be like... like they're coming in, and then they'd be like sarsaparilla, and then they'd try and throw like the fucking whiskey across, and it just wouldn't go anywhere, and it'd spill everywhere.
I've got it.
What?
We need to do an underwater dark noir detective series, which is secretly a grimdark remake of Sharky and George.
Oh shit, dude! Dude.
Yeah, you got it.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's
the answer.
Yep. Fucking yeah, that's it, y'all.
You don't reveal it at the start. Like, you actually have, like, one of the characters is called George. And
then there's the other one's like Sharkerton or something. It's like, no.
They have a name.
My pals call me Shark.
Yeah, you learn right at the end, you learn that their name... They gain the nickname Sharky.
Like fucking Batman 3 or whatever it was with Bane in it. With Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh, about the whole Robin thing.
Yeah, and it's it says that your first name's actually Robin. Why don't you go by that? And he's like, because I'm Dick Grayson. Like something like that. Yeah. Like at the very end, like, yeah.
If you don't know what Sharky and George is, ask your parents.
And they'll tell you to fuck off. Of the sea.
They are the crime fighters of the sea.
You see, we knew a couple of people who Dicko was friends with. He went to uni with a guy called whose nickname was Sharky. And they literally went all around the campus to find a George for him to be friends with. And then they became friends. So fucking cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's the best. Okay, so the follow-up question to that is that are we using models or CGI?
Oh...
In that case, like, if we're doing the noir thing, I'd go for CGI.
Yeah. Like full CGI.
Yeah, full CGI, like not, so that everything is CGI, so it has a consistent
look. Okay,
yeah, that's good.
It's just a CG
I refer
show.
You back to the Aquaman incident.
Yeah.
The Aquaman incident.
Involving
the incident that they made it.
Yeah.
Mistakes were made. It's called Aquaman.
All right. Next up, Ryan Warhart.
Hello, Ryan.
Favourite cheese? Also mozzarella.
Oh, damn, we've got very popular cheese here.
This is freshly sliced mozzarella, specifically.
Oh, okay.
So there is a schism in the mozzarella faction.
There is.
Okay. Can't we just all like cheese? Okay.
So, one of them's the Trotskyists, and they break away.
Don't fucking do this.
Ryan's question. You're all killed in a ship crash over a 40k battlefield.
Are you fucking threatening me, Ryan?
Your souls, yes, definitely. Your souls, through warp fuckery and such, are able to inhabit a vehicle in the form of its machine spirit. What 40k vehicle would your soul naturally possess? Oh,
shit.
Based on your personality.
Okay, what 40k vehicle? I was immediately going to say Pedro Pascal's bicycle. But no, it has to be
specifically
40K.
The seat of his bicycle.
I wasn't going to say that. Oh
my god. That is what you're implying, surely.
No.
I'm going to answer the question.
I just want him to ride me like an actual pony.
Okay.
And then he could feed me carrots. Like he could tenderly feed me a handful of like sugared oats. And then he could brush my hair.
I don't think he feeds sugared oats to his bicycle.
No, I'm a horse bike now.
I like that you that you qualified actual, just literal horse shit, because otherwise that would have been maybe a bit over the line.
No. Okay. I do play up for comedic stuff, but this is a person we're talking about.
Yes.
But I do want him to like wash my mane and like put my shoes on, like nail them to my feet, nail my boots on, and then feed me sugared oats by hand as he strokes my mane in the wind with the cowboy hat slightly askew and a strip of hay in his mouth. He's just staring off into the sunset, thinking.
I feel like they weren't
very
expecting this answer.
I think everyone expected this answer
Yeah, I mean,
because
also,
I'm
that is also
answering
true.
the question.
Yes, and you managed to spend minutes not answering it.
Okay, honey, okay.
I can answer the question.
No one cares.
Squat land train.
Yes.
I would be either oh god, what are they called? The fucking angry scream box, the Chaos Dreadnoughts. Shit.
The Hellbrute?
I would either be a Hellbrute.
Well, they don't have a machine spirit.
Oh shit, you're right. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, we're extrapolating from that because like neither do Grotman vehicles, right?
Yeah.
True. But
fake fan.
But they have they have a dead person inside them, so I think that I feel that does take them away from that.
Okay, I'd be Crazy Pants Off Dance Off's chair.
Karamazov's chair.
That's what I said. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't, because I don't want an old man sitting on me unless it's Pedro Pascal. You fell right into that one, honey.
I don't think it's really fell into it. It's that you were going to squeeze it into that gap regardless of the distance.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, because the machine spirit kind of like really fucks it up. Because I'm like, I'd be a jump pack. I'd be clinging onto some poor Marine and just screaming and heaving him around.
You know, I'm actually trying to think. I've never seen it mentioned, but does Dreadnought armor actually have a machine spirit? Like, do they consider, like, obviously everything has the machine spirit, but there's machine spirits and there's machine spirits.
I would be a Land Raider Redeemer because I like fire. But I would belong to, like, the Space Wolves, so they would give me a big, juicy set of steaks.
Yeah, no, that actually
every,
checks
like,
out. Yeah.
couple of weeks. And then I'd get into a fight, and then I'd just drive off on my own and just hit people with my fucking loading door.
I'm just imagining you opening and closing the door, like, eating the steaks, like...
And they're like, is that even doing anything? And they're like, no, it just likes to do it. And I'd be like, and then I just start flamethrowing shit in the sky. And that's how they know I was pleased with the offering.
Sorry, I'm really having I'm sitting here, like, while you're talking, I'm like, because I know that knights have a machine spirit, and like, titans
Would you be a knight?
See, well, I'm avoiding these issues, but I'm treating the first half of the question as the, like, fluff, and then the crunch is the, like, specific, is just what 40k vehicle would you be?
Yeah.
I'm avoiding this technicality.
I think Wib would be a Warhound Titan because he likes them a lot.
I'm still going to go with Squat Land Train.
Okay.
Because it's obsolete, very silly.
Okay.
And it's a train.
When I was a train.
I was a good train.
Yeah, fair.
Yep. But yeah, Drama Matt, just name a 40k vehicle that you want to be.
Like, well, are jet bikes vehicles or are they bikes?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're
Can I be a jet
vehicles.
bike so I can, like, fuck off really quickly?
Okay.
Because I feel like that'd probably be what I want to do.
You want to run away from me trying to eat you.
I'm like,
I'm a hungry boy.
Okay. 6-foot alligator.
Oh, wow.
Is Gavrilo Frostgrave a name that conveys a sense of power?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for your question.
The follow-up question, bit peeking behind the scenes here. What day do questions have to be in by to feature in that month's podcast?
That is an excellent question.
I'm using that to peek behind the scenes. So I want to say thanks to everyone for not minding my auto out-of-office reply thing, because it meant that going through the questions was, like, infinitely less stressful for me. Because I still read them all, I just aren't doing a personal reply to everyone anymore. And that apparently took away all of the stress of doing the questions. So thank you, everyone.
That's really cool. But yeah, just to basically any time because Drama Matt did this really selfish thing and has like a baby who's amazing and adorable and stuff, and then, like, a weird thing about babies is that they need a massive amount of attention. So it's basically whenever Drama Butt is free. So at the moment now, it's just up in the air. And if you've asked a question that hasn't already been asked by somebody
usually
demonstrably first, then we'll answer your question.
The short answer is that as we've gone to it monthly, it's at some point in the first half of the month.
Usually.
Don't ask what day because we don't know.
Yeah, I'll typically message you when I realise it's the start of a month, which can be anywhere between the 1st and the 8th, apparently, of the month.
Yep.
And be like, oh yeah, it's the start of the month, should we do a podcast?
And then we're like, yep.
I mean, we couldn't have done it any sooner because Snipe's voice wouldn't have held out.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly,
I barely managed streaming, the other night.
Yeah. But yeah, typically around a week into the month. But I mean, if you email at any point, it will just... It's not like I don't read ones that haven't come in the last week or something. So
yeah, if you send
it's not
one
like there's
in,
an auto delete or anything.
Yeah, if you send one in the day after we record, but like the day before it goes live, then that question will just be answered in the next one.
Yeah.
Hockey dokie, Calamity Cars.
Hey, Cass.
Favourite cheese is Spanish sheep's... It says curated here. That might be a typo from me. Could be cured cheese. But Spanish sheep's cured cheese or curated cheese. It's
Nice.
strong, firm and tasty, apparently.
Just
I don't
like
think
me.
I've had specifically Spanish sheep cheese.
I haven't either. I'm going to have to
sheep
look
cheese
out
is
for
good.
that. I've never had any cheese that hasn't been from a cow.
You must have had goat's cheese.
I've had
I assume you
German-
hate goat's cheese. I feel like that's something that you'd hate.
Really?
Yeah, it does have that. That is the type of food where you would have unreasonably strong opinions about.
Why?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why do you feel that?
How do you feel about avocados?
I want to kill. I want to genocide avocados. They are disgusting and should be literally wiped out from food, from the food gene pool, because they are so fucking repugnant.
How do you feel? How do you feel about banana bread?
I hate it more than the intensity of 1,000 suns, but but still less than avocado.
Okay, this is why.
Okay, so I hate 2 foods.
Yeah, but
Okay, so I hate 3 foods.
when you tend to hate foods with like such a passion, and sometimes
Soup?
it is. Yeah.
Okay. I hate 4 foods, but I have been eating soup. I bet it's the chunkiest soup I could fucking buy.
Okay, it's stew, not soup.
Excellent.
Well,
That makes me feel a lot better.
At what line does a stew become a soup?
Shut the fuck up and continue. No. Okay, so I hate 4 foods. I don't know why goat cheese would...
Because it's subtly
checks
different. Because it's subtly different to an existing type of food you like, therefore you hate. This is the type of thing that happens where you will we'll be talking about something and then it'll be some food that we just like, oh, it's just an innocuous food, and then you'll be like, no, I hate this to the point that I want to invent time travel, go back in time and kill all humans. And this, you just have strong opinions about it, and that, some reason...
Okay, so I have strong opinions about food I like that has adjacent, similar types of food. Like let's say, I love green olives.
Yeah.
My favourite olives are Spanish queen olives.
How do you feel about black olives?
Fucking hate them. Because they're not very nice. I wouldn't exterminate, them from everything. I just don't like them because they're not as good as green olives.
Be aware that, for whatever reason, and both Matt and I agree on this.
Okay, so it must be true because 2 white guys have said so.
We're just saying that goat's cheese has the right energy for a food that you would hate. Can you explain it?
It's just giving you a vibe that I would hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that people, consumables that people hate, I bought you some sarsaparilla.
I told you not to.
It was on sale.
Okay.
The look he just gave me.
I will try the sarsaparilla.
Are you gonna try it on mic because with your fucking hot takes on ketchup ice cream?
Oh yeah, that was rough.
Chocolate ketchup ice cream.
No, that was a one-time deal until I get bored and do it again.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, it just has the vibe for it, and when you do hate a food, you hate it with a passion that is unrivaled.
Okay.
So we can't help but assume that if something has the vibe, you'll hate it. The way you'll hate it will be extreme.
Okay. Listeners, if you're gonna write a question in, also please let me know if you feel that goat's cheese gives off the vibe that I would kill people because I hate it so much. Just let me know.
Yeah.
Because I am very curious, because I don't know, it just feels plucked out of the air to me.
Well, all I'll say is that 2 of the people that know you better than, anyone else both agree on this vibe.
Okay. I'm going to message my friend Violet and be like, hey.
This was not the point of the email. This was just answering a question you mentioned in passing.
Yes.
Calamity Kaz's actual question.
Yes.
Do we have any game recommendations for chill-out games or like construction games or that sort of thing?
Stardew Valley. You want to lose a week? Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of anything that's not the obvious that we haven't either talked about
Sims
at length.
4 is nice if you just like building houses, but I understand there's some heavy fucking caveats with that game. So many fucking bits of DLC, like paid DLC, because it's just an EA fucking goldmine.
Because you have your obvious thing. Satisfactory. Yes, it's not really
Slime
a building
Rancher.
game though.
No, but it's chill game or construction game. So like,
okay.
You can chill and play Slime Rancher.
I
I'd point you in the direction of the Chilled Out Games YouTube channel, because every game that they recommend is excellent, and it's a very good channel.
There
it
is
doesn't have anywhere near as many subscribers as it should do.
Yeah, I remember like looking at them. There is Satisfactory is pretty good and it's relatively chill. So that's a thing. Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, because outside the obvious ones, because like a lot of the ones that I play to kind of chill out are either things that are not relaxing at all.
The Binding of Isaac.
Yeah.
See, I was like, I think the Long Dark on like the hardest difficulty is that's a me thing.
There's relaxing games that are definitely like a personal thing. Like I used to play fucking Dark Souls, like to chill out, you know.
Yeah, but like more traditionally, like you can just chill out and play. I'd say Stardew Valley.
Note wrong. We're going back to Minecraft.
No, Minecraft is good too. Put it on peaceful, or you just want to build shit, go on creative. It's all good. They've added so much fucking stuff.
Play Minecraft and go. I haven't played it for 2 years. What the fuck is all these things?
Why is there bees? I love them,
the bees
but why
are
is
adorable.
I know that they're all trans.
Why is bees?
I love bees.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I haven't really played much of those kind of games for a while.
I tend to have like a collection, like a handful that I just cycle through.
I mean, you used to play Banished a lot.
I played Banished a lot.
But you played it like so heavily modded.
I played it super modded, and I would say it's up there with kind of like the Long Dark or Dark Souls, where you need to be very familiar with it to get relaxed enjoyment out of it. Yeah, you need to have a system in order to you need to really know that game before you can kind of like relax with it. Unless your idea of relaxing is just getting hit in the dick with a hammer, in which case fucking fill your boots.
You didn't play the Binding of Isaac like I do.
Yeah. But yeah, Drummer Butt, what about you? Any idea?
Like I said, Slime Rancher is my first.
Yeah, that is a really good suggestion.
It's I'm sure you can like optimize it and do things, or you can just chill out and look at the cute slims.
Yeah, the slims are I like the kitty slims. They're my favourite. I like them a lot. But yeah, no, good question. That's a cute question. I like that.
Sepulchrave Groan.
Hello.
Name a bird you think is an excellent bird.
Any bird.
I've been on a real shoebill kick recently.
He has been on a real shoebill.
I love shoebills.
They're stinky, but the thing is they do this thing where they bow and they shake their head back and forth like they're saying no, and they do that to people because that's something they do to each other to show kind of like to be friendly, and then they do it to like their caretakers as well, and then the caretakers do it back, and it's really, really
and
cool.
People think they're scary, but they're actually like super chill.
The only problem is they're stinky.
Yeah, they're a bit stinky apparently, but like they're wild animals, so you know.
Yeah.
But they're like they are so chill that it is actually like a problem for them because they just let people come near them and just like, oh hey,
and then they get necked.
Yeah, basically. Also, they make machine gun noises. Like when they like one of their greeting noises is that they like rapidly like open and close their bill, so it makes like kind of a rapid fire like machine gun noise.
That's really cool. I'm gonna you know what? I'm gonna start doing that in real life.
Yeah.
Like, you're right, mate. Can I have a single into town?
Well, that's a trill. That's a different thing. It's got you got to smash your teeth together.
I can't do it on purpose.
Well, I'm sorry. Then it's not a shoebill thing.
Shit. How am I supposed to appropriate their culture?
But yeah, no, shoebill's great, and they're really cute.
John, but what about you? What is a good bird for you?
Well, I was going to name a specific bird. I don't know its name, but like there's a specific cockatoo in it's the Koala Sanctuary in Brisbane, or near Brisbane,
God.
Australia. It's this bird. I've got family over in Brisbane, so I went over there as like a teenager or whatever. vaguely remembered this bird, but not really. Went back a few years ago, slightly older. Went back there and I was like, I'm sure this bird could talk last time we were here. If this is the same bird. And we spent like a good 10-15 minutes trying to get this bird to like talk at us. And we were like, oh, maybe it doesn't. I'm sure this is the same bird, but I don't know what like
cockatoos
it might
live
have
for
died.
like
They might have
60
got another one.
years.
Well, yeah, but I don't know how old it was. So we finally gave up and we turned around and was like, okay, fine, bye bird. And we were walking away and it went bye bye. We were like, yes, it does talk. And it is the most excellent of birds. Like, it turned out it just said hello and bye, and that was what it said.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
It's an excellent bird.
See, I'm
some
angry
sort of
at
like
you.
yellow-topped cockatoo thing. I can't even remember.
Oh, it's something crested. Cockatoo.
Crested, yeah, yellow crested. I don't
It's
know,
something
it was
like
white.
that.
It was very cool.
Yeah. I you see, I'm not going to say that particular cockatoo. I'm just going to say cockatoos in general. Because,
okay, yeah, fair.
Because I have had so many people say that bird matches my energy perfectly. And then they send me gifs of like, there's a picture of a lady sitting there, just like, I don't know, she's like doing a crossword, and there's a cockatoo on her shoulder with a pen that is like moving it back and forth and just smacking her in the face repeatedly with it. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. I'm pretty sure I've done that to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to bearded vultures.
They're metal as fuck.
They're just fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hockey doggy, Frankatron.
Oh,
yeah, go on.
I would say
Important
cockatoo, but you
bird
say cockatoo.
content.
Yes, important bird content. I will say kookaburras.
Oh yeah, kookaburras.
Because they're
cool.
super chubby and they eat so much. Like there was one in the news that ate so many sausages it couldn't fly because it gained so much weight and was so fat. And there was a picture of it and it literally looked like it was, if you think of the face for no regrets, that was the face this kookaburra had. And they make the biggest, loudest noise that I can now enjoy because I'm not getting woken up at 4:30 in the fucking morning by it. It's fantastic.
They're just big fat kingfishers.
I know, and I love them.
They're just like they've got such a
cheeky little face.
soft fat face that's got they look. I love them. Yeah, kookaburras.
That's probably why you married me.
They're great.
Yeah, they are really cool. But yeah, sorry, carry
Very
on.
cute. I'm a big fan of kookaburras.
Next up, Frankatron.
Hello, Frankatron.
Frankatron.
Hello.
Snipe, don't Google this yet because I've got a image reference for this.
Oh shit!
Snipe,
okay. Yeah.
Did you know that there's a character in Legends of Arcadia that looks suspiciously like you?
Is there?
I'm going to send you a clip which doesn't, aside from being green, looks. I can see it.
Actually, yeah, I've had my hair like that a good few times.
Yeah.
Maybe I should get on.
For those who can't see it, the
rights.
character is Callista, apparently, and yeah, looks fair, and also voiced by Stephanie Beatriz. So I mean, that's always a nice bonus. So
I love her.
Yeah,
Stephanie
she's great.
Beatriz is so good.
Secondly, in the last MisanthroPod, we mentioned having a band practice. Does that mean some sort of comeback for Fighting Evil, or is it a new project, or are we just messing about?
That I don't think even we've had that conversation, mate.
No, who knows? Various people have got various stuff going on. We do have a gig, so I mean, we're at some point in October, which I don't think is officially announced yet. But I mean, the crossover between people who listen to this and the crossover and the people who are going to like rat me out to last edition for announcing it. JB Conspiracy are playing.
Oh,
that's
really?
Pretty cool.
No shit,
yeah.
no way.
But on a different day to us, we're playing the Saturday and they're playing the Sunday. But yeah, we've got a gig in October in Leicester. If anyone's local, I guess possibly come down. We in theory might be playing, but who knows?
Ooh, we might be playing. Who knows?
So if we can squeeze in the practice before then, we might be playing. But we signed up to it at least. We're on the poster. So I mean,
do you remember that time that like we got like emailed by a promoter? Oh no, we got Facebooked by a promoter. It was like, hey, there's this gig that's happening like in a couple of months. Are you interested? And we just never replied because the venue was shit or something, and they treated us badly. And then, literally like a week before the gig, they posted the photo, and they put us on the fucking poster. And we were like, I remember Dicko calling us, going, "Did we agree to that?" And all of us going, "No." We explicitly fucking left them on red, and they've put us there anyway. So now we have to fucking play. That was fun.
I can't remember. I can't remember. Did we play or did we just go message them and go like?
Oh wait, no, we didn't. We messaged them and going, we never actually confirmed, and I think they were really shitty with us. And we were like, this is literally why we don't want to play gigs with you.
Yeah, I have only half recollections of this. So
I just remember being really angry.
We were the band formed in like fucking like 2007 or something. So.
Yeah. But anyway, yes. So maybe.
Yes, watch this space. Ooh.
Officially, Fighting Evil never ended, so you know.
No, it was sort of
yeah
thing. If you could put an army not from 40k into 40k, what would it be and why?
I don't know. I guess more like I'd be more interested in like the thematic elements of an army more than like just a straight this thing from this work of fiction to this work of fiction.
Well, the thing is,
like,
that's a difficult question because 40k is stolen from so much other stuff that if you could go like, oh, how about the fucking Starship Trooper? No, they're literally just Imperial Guard.
Like a thing that could be fun is like the Star Wars Rebellion as a thing. Ooh. So a ragtag group made up of multiple different
people
species.
Who aren't pro-chaos, but they're not pro-imperial.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
So that kind of thing, like, and I think that's what I'd be more interested in is like taking the thematic elements of a faction and using them.
Yeah, I'm stealing that from you.
Because I've never been the hugest fan of like crossover stuff like that.
Yeah. Are you kidding me? I read a music teacher AU story the other day.
Okay.
I regret it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
instead of this person being a contract killer, they were a fucking violin teacher.
Okay. What was this a crossover for?
I can't remember.
Was it a crossover? Or was it just an AU?
I think I'm confused.
Okay. It's okay.
No, it was an AU, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, okay. It's okay.
Sorry. I don't actually like crossovers, but they're...
I think when they feel like they could exist in the same universe, I'm like cool with it. So like there's lots of crossovers within like Godzilla stuff where they were like, oh, we're going to bring Mothra in, and that's more just adopting it into the canon. I'm kind of okay with that when they feel like they could exist in the same universe. Whereas when you have to like do a lot of like reworking of the things, I'm not the hugest fan of it generally, but there are exceptions.
But no, I'm gonna steal your idea and just do the thematic thing because not only is that a good idea, but it makes me sound clever as well. So I'm gonna
And what would that be? What faction would you like to see have a 40k equivalent?
Star Wars.
The whole of Star Wars.
No, I just like the idea that there's like a rebellion that is literally, the Imperium is an imperialistic hellscape, and chaos is like, no, is bad. So let's just have an actual like good faction, like what the Tower were kind of being shaped up to be until they weren't. So yeah,
a little bit,
yeah.
But any other things apart from the rebellion?
I cannot think about anything.
Okay.
I can't think about anything else, so yeah.
Fair. I'm not sure if this is how I typed the question or if this was how it was asked, but it specifically says an army not from 40k into 40k, so I want Space Skaven.
Yes, that's a really good idea.
Because officially the Hrud aren't Space Skaven at this point. Legit. I would really like to see them attempt that.
So many of the models you could keep the same, basically, but I just want like decent 40k rules for them.
I just want a Skaven with a jump pack.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
I mean, the thing is,
you could very easily do it, but Yeah,
you could use I guess like orc rules would probably be a good base for
I
them.
was gonna say they are very goblin-y
because they're very as far as my understanding goes of Skaven rules, because I've not played anywhere near enough Warhammer Fantasy of any stripe to be able to like authoritatively like talk about this, but Skaven are kind of like 40k orcs in that there's a lot of randomness and blowing themselves up, which fantasy orcs don't necessarily have. Yeah. So in some ways they're kind of a better parallel for each other than the orcs of both.
Yeah, no, that's a really good answer. Yeah.
Right, 3 questions left, and I've just noticed the time, so let's power through relatively quickly.
Yeah, sounds good.
Mikael, what's your favourite Discworld novel and why?
The Night Watch.
Yeah, Night Watch.
Night Watch is fan-fucking-tastic. I love... I like magic settings and stuff like that is cool, but I prefer the kind of more, like, gritty, boots-on-the-ground kind of thing. Like, the more kind of, like... Because let's be honest, Vimes is... It's a fucking detective story. Like a fucking, like, you know... a pavement-beating, like, detective story, and I love that. Like, the standard Discworld stuff's really cool as well, but the magic is just... It's something I'm not massively into. The same reason where, like, I like Star Wars a lot. The Mandalorian is my favourite, because it's, again, it's boots on the ground, fucking, like, you know, gunslinging shit. I really like that. So.
I do... my favourite set of things from...
and I just love Vimes so much. He's amazing.
Yeah. Vimes is one of my favourite characters in all the fiction. The Watch books in general are just really fucking strong, and Night Watch is the best. And all of the witch ones are good. I seem to remember really liking Carpe Jugulum. That's a real good one. And the sort of the last run of like the last new, like, I get, because there's like settings within the Discworld where they do, so there's the witch books, there's the wizard books, there's you know, the watch books, and then there's like the random ones, but there's a few that have like a few little ones where they have a handful of books, like the Moist von Lipwig books. You know, they're a whole thing as well. But yeah, I'd say Night Watch. Also, those books are great, and they are all about understanding your fellow fucking man. Gender critical fuckers.
Anyone trying
you do not own those books. Fuck you.
No, no. Pratchett, like, was really cool about that stuff.
Yeah. Pratchett, reading Pratchett, I would say is one of the reasons why I am the person that I am today, and that I was able to get a grip on, like, obviously he was a cis guy writing about lots of different issues that weren't necessarily...
Of course it's not going to be
perfect. Not, you know, it's not going to be a perfect thing, but I will say that having the themes of gender and race explored within those books in the way that they did meant that I was more well equipped to come into these subjects as an adult in a more open-minded and thoughtful way. And
they are brilliant books, especially for developing minds.
If you think he would be on board with transphobia, then you either haven't read the books or you are a brazen, callous liar.
Which, you know, people who listen to us aren't. Yeah. So yeah.
I'm not. Yeah. No, that just legit pisses me off.
No. I understand. Yeah. Fuck TERFs. Fuck those people. They're disgusting. But yeah, Drummer Butt, what about you? Because you've been working your way through Wib's
supply. I can never decide if I prefer the Witchers or the City Watch books, but I think I'm probably sway. If I had to pick a favourite, I'd probably go Witchers, and then going through them, possibly Witchers Abroad.
Witchers Abroad is good.
Yeah, but I think possibly my answer might change when I get to Night Watch, because I haven't actually got to the book Night Watch yet.
It's great.
Oh yeah, I haven't started lending you just handfuls of hardbacks, have I?
No, not yet. So yeah, although reminding myself and just going through the list of them just to sort of be like, oh, what would be my favourite? I've just realised that Carpe Jugulum is the last of the Witcher's books, so there's no more to read, which is really sad for me.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, well, there's plenty more watch books though, so that's good.
Yeah.
There is. It's funny, when I was younger, my favourite ones were all the Rincewind books, but as I've gone on, I'm just a bit less like.
It's.
And don't worry, I know we're really low on time, but also Discworld started to be talked about, and I don't get to talk about Discworld very often.
No, this is true. This is true.
It's my most favouriteest books.
I know. Discworld is wonderful.
And I'm really sad that last time I was up seeing you guys. I forgot to bring some to swap for the new ones, because I've not read anything but them for ages. Now I'm to find like all other trash books that
I found that when I was reading Discworld books, the moment I picked up a different book, it just ruined me, and I was like, these just aren't Discworld books. They're not as good, they're not as fun, they're not as silly, they're not as emotionally fucking, like, you know. But yeah.
Okay, next up, Murray. First, does Snipe know that when they put Solid Snake in Smash Bros, they made a fully voiced codec?
They did, and I
conversation against all potential components.
They did,
opponents.
because it was MGS2 Snake, but they gave him basically MGS3 topic lines. So like, if you were fighting Yoshi, he would phone up like on his codec and be like, "So what would a Yoshi taste like?" And because Wib got that for like your 21st birthday.
Otacon Samus took her clothes off.
I think I could catch her if I took all my clothes off. Snake, stop.
Yeah, I sat down and did them all for you.
We sat there and we listened to all of them, and yes, I did know. Thank you very much, though, for thinking of me. I appreciate it.
They're great. There's some great lines.
Fantastic fucking lines. Yes, you know that if you play MGS1 on a mono TV, you call up the Colonel, and he basically like makes fun of you for not owning a stereo TV in 1998. And it's just like, fuck you, Kojima. Also, there's a codex call you can do in MGS2 in the tanker mission while you're playing as Snake. If you phone up while first person looking at a sexy girl poster, it's basically you call Otacon up just after Snake's had a big cum. And he's like, yeah, and Otacon's like, Snake, for Christ's sake, can you not jerk off for like 1 hour? And then, because also during the MGS2 codex, if you press R2, it gives you like a little sound file of what the character you're playing as is thinking about the current topic, which can give you interesting.
His Snake like shit rumbled.
No. You like because he's like his fucking like his little portrait is panting, so he's like coming down. You know, he's like, you know, he's just finished a cigarette. He's like, oh, I needed that. And if you press right trigger to see what he's thinking, he just goes, "You were watching." So yeah, I hope I've taught you a little something about Metal Gear as well. But thank you very much for thinking of me.
Okay, and their question.
Okay.
I noticed, and me, Drummer Matt, checked this out. This is a thing. Mm-hmm. I noticed that online greeting card sellers, Moonpig, now have a 40k range.
They do, and they are ridiculous.
Slogans include, "Wag, Adam, it's your birthday," and other equal amazing things.
Oh
they are
basically they're all shite. Can we come up with some better Warhammer greeting card slogans?
Okay. Okay.
You're my Makari.
Oh god. Wow, I'm sorry about your grandma dying.
Lucius may be eternal, but your grandma isn't. I don't know why that's where we're going.
Is your pregnancy from one of the Chaos Gods? Because just as planned. Oh, come on, that was brilliant. It really wasn't.
I think that one needs a bit of workshopping.
Okay, you know what?
I think
it's better than, "Wow, Adam, it's your birthday."
Oh yeah,
Adam.
the actual ones are so fucking weird.
I've not.
Like they're so designed by someone who was given like a bunch of keywords and told to like come up with it, but has never played 40k.
Yeah.
They're really peculiar.
They're quite interesting to look at.
I do really like Lucius may be eternal, but your grandma isn't. Or wasn't.
Sorry, I guess.
Wasn't. Yeah.
Oh, dear me. There'll be a lot of like 18 birthday cards that are all about like fucking Slanesh and stuff. It's like, oh, the Prince of Excess demands that you get drunk on your birthday.
What we need is those kind of like, you know, those really tedious cards that people buy you when you turn 18 and 21 that are all about drinking.
Drunk. Ugh.
Like, they're just like, don't get too drunk. And you're like, I especially like at 21, was I even drinking when I was 21? I don't think I was.
No.
And I was still getting cards about it.
My auntie, God rest her soul, no, in fact, don't. Make her soul as angry as possible. She's still alive. I just want her to be fucking miserable. She, like, from the age of 10 to 17, every single card she got me was about drinking, and then every single thing was like, to my name, don't get too drunk. And then, like, the moment I turned 18, it was all like, to a special niece. Happy birthday.
You see, that's...
And I'm like, so now that I can legally drink, you just aren't making a joke. What?
They were just big into illegal drinking.
Well, to be fair, her and my other auntie, like, they literally, like, at the age of 60, would go sit in the local park and just Jack Daniels between each other. And the only reason my mother didn't go is because my father wouldn't let her.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think we've come up with a lot of way better ones because Jesus Christ.
Have you got any ideas there, Matthew?
Oh, I don't know. Sorry you lost your job. It's for the greater good or something. I don't know. I can't think of
Deepest sympathy.
What? I think it is fitting that if all the 40k cards were upsetting.
Yeah, obviously they'd have to.
They need to be all miserable. Yeah.
But yeah.
Or it's like, sorry for your loss, the flesh is weak.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Very last question.
Okay.
Ryderick.
Hello.
They put a thing of how to pronounce it last time and didn't this time. I've forgotten, so apologies.
Hello.
Question for Wib. Do you know of Spice 8 Rack? He's a Magic the Gathering YouTuber. But
Spice 8 Track. Is it like 8 track as in like...
no, I don't know if I've typoed. Spice, the number 8, and then Rack, R-A-C-K. But he's a Magic the Gathering YouTuber, but apparently he's unabashedly leftist and loves goblins, so they thought you might get on.
That sounds fun. I unfortunately I have this thing which is where the moment anyone starts talking about Magic the Gathering, my mind goes blank, and then I wake up like an hour later.
Yeah, it's very upsetting when someone who would probably fall very deep down that rabbit hole if I had people to play it with. So,
yeah, I don't know.
So thank you, but also... Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, it's not a judgment on the game itself, because I have played it, and I'm like, yeah, this plays like games I do like. I mean, I do, every time I hear about the competitive scene, I just, oh God, I don't even want to talk about it. But like, there's just something about it that it doesn't get its hooks in me for whatever reason. So you can tell, so people go, oh, there's like fucking, like, oh, there's Warhammer cards or there's Godzilla cards, and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I really like Magic. I know this isn't the point of the question. I love that it's sort of like programming. Oh no, it is like you put the cards on like a stack and they have to interact in a certain order. But it is like programming. I learned the other day, Magic the Gathering is Turing complete, as in like it's a legit. You could use it to code any computer program.
Okay.
It's not efficient, and it would take the length of the universe to run anything sensible or anything. But it is Turing complete, and you can set, because there's so many cards that interact in so many different ways because it's been going on for fucking ages. You can in theory, convert any written program into Magic the Gathering cards, and then run a computer program on it.
Interesting.
It is the most bizarre thing I've learned, and I'm like, was that really? And obviously, you couldn't really, because it would take forever to do it. It's not a computer, it's you moving cards and doing the rules, but you can do what it is very weird.
Very strange. Yeah, no, I don't know why. I really don't know, because I should like it, but I don't, and I just have zero interest in it. But I'm also glad I don't, because I know how expensive it gets. So it's it's a thing that I'm not into, and I'm glad I'm not into, but not out of any malice to the game whatsoever.
But yeah, that is all the questions.
Cool. Thank you very much for your questions. Be sure to tell me if you think I give off vibes that I would hate goat's cheese.
And also let us know if you can tell that Snipe's throat has started dying in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, send best wishes to Snipe's throat, because...
So we're going to wrap up soon.
Broken.
And by soon, I mean now.
I need to go get fed some honeyed oats by Pedro Pascal, who has actually messaged me on Instagram again.
Yeah,
I feel bad for the man, because he's been banned from Instagram 30 times just messaging me.
Yeah, all these people with variants of Pedro Pascal's name messaging you.
Yeah, and he's like, hey,
it's got to be the same
girl.
person, because otherwise it'd be a really weird showing of that there's a weird predatory underbelly to people on Instagram.
Yeah, it's like they go out in search of these people to get nudes from them, then to blackmail them and stuff. And it's like, wow, that's why I talk to them for as long as I can and make things as complicated as I can, so they get bored and they're not harassing people who are younger and maybe a lot more naive than I am.
But this time you were talking to Pedro
But
Pascal
this time
in the
it's
flesh.
actually Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I was going to post this on Twitter, and I probably still will. There was this one person, not the one who's just messaged me, but the last person pretending to be Pedro Pascal, who was like, Oh yeah, I kept them going for quite a while. Like we were chatting for a couple of days, and
Right.
he sent me, because I'm gonna assume it's a guy because I'm an ass. And they sent me, I was like, oh, could you send me a picture of yourself, Pedro, please? Because I'm scared that someone's going to steal my nudes. Because I got messaged by someone who was claiming to be you, and I sent them all my sexy nudes. And they were like, you send a picture first to make sure that because, like, you know, make sure that you aren't a faking liar person, and, you know, who keeps getting my accounts banned. And I was like, okay, so I sent him a really close-up picture of me gurning. And he was like, well, I'm going to report you, say bye to your account. I'm like, no, Pedro, please don't leave me, puppy. Please, Pedro, no. And I finally got, like, I was like, okay, so I sent them, like, a new picture that I hadn't uploaded to Instagram. And they were like, okay, so you are real. I was like, could you send me a picture of yourself, please, Pedro? And they sent me a picture of Pedro Pascal on, like, a voice call. And then they accidentally sent me the uncropped picture that they'd taken a print screen off from Instagram. And I was like, Pedro, what was that? And he was like, oh no, I'm being hacked again. And I was like, Pedro, I'm so afraid. What if they hack me? And he's like, no, I'll keep you safe. I won't let them. And I'm like, how could you say that? They're hacking your account right now. And I wasted this person's time so much. You could tell they were getting really mad at me, but they couldn't be super mad at me because then I wouldn't send them nudes or talk to them on WhatsApp. Because then he was like, oh yeah, add me. So I was like, okay, and I put in some stupid ass fucking name. I was like, okay, here's my WhatsApp. And they were like, you're not showing up. And I was like, that's weird. Or maybe it's because the email address I gave you is fake, just like you, bitch. And yeah, their account's been deleted.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a fun few days of just chatting shit with, yeah. But this time it's the real Pedro.
Definitely.
It
real.
is, yeah. This time it's for real.
I like how we're going to wrap up because of your throat, and then you're like, no, I have to talk about Pedro Pascal.
And on that note, gentle listeners, we love you. You are good. Don't forget to stay hydrated and take your meds and eat meals. And we shall talk at you next month. Okay, we love you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.